everybody? Welcome to the stream. Thank you guys all for joining. How's everybody doing? Wow, we have 200 people in here already. By the way, for those of you guys who are asking in the chat, the name of the song is called... Hold on.
It seems like now more than ever, Remnant needs a hero. Will RWBY rise to the occasion? Will Cinder fall?
Find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
RWBY.
How's it going, Shane? Thank you very much for the donation. Appreciate the cool, fresh startup to the stream. But really quick, for those of you guys, I saw a bunch of you guys asking in the comments, or in the chat rather, what the name of the song is. It is in the description of this video right now, but it is called Friends. It is by Hyper Potions. They've become like one of my favorite music channels. And that song was actually a collaboration that they did with Sega for the new title Sonic Mania, the new 2D Sonic game that came out this year. That was also one of my favorites that I played, that I streamed a while back during the summer. So yeah, I've been featuring some of their music. They're really cool with letting YouTubers use music in their videos. All you have to do is just credit them in the description. So like I said, if any of you guys want to check out their channel, you know, subscribe, check it out. I love their music. And I kind of want to start featuring them on the startup of these kind of RWBY streams that I do every week. But yeah, chapter 10. Oh my god, this chapter was so good. Admittedly, I have rewatched this chapter more than any other chapter this volume.
Calm down.
Oh,
I'm not here for your money.
What's up, Luca?
Corsac, Finnick, why didn't you D-O-O-O-O-O-O-D-D-D-D-G?
Why didn't you dodge? Oh, I mean, he kind of dove headfirst. He just like went all in, and it kind of backfired on him. But yeah, this chapter was this was such a great chapter to leave off on, because we're not getting a chapter next week. Oh my god, guys.
Hey there, man.
Hey.
First time on one of these streams,
welcome.
So just wanted to say I'm glad to be here and I'm enjoying the content.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, so I've been doing these live stream discussions for RWBY since Volume 4. Last year was, I started doing these live stream discussions every week from Volume 4. They can get a bit long, so they kind of range anywhere from 3 to 4 hours on average. The most that we've gone through is about 5 hours. So I hope you enjoy. Kieran or Kyron G, I think that's how you say your username. Thank you very much for the donation, and welcome. I hope you enjoy. We're gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about this week for sure. So for those of you who don't know, I'm gonna be making a PSA announcement video on it tomorrow. But for those of you who don't know, we are not getting a RWBY chapter this upcoming Saturday, the 23rd. This Saturday, we are not getting a RWBY, you know, a continuation from from chapter 10 to 11. This weekend is holiday weekend, so whatever you celebrate, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever the case might be, this is actually going to be a break for the RWBY and Rooster Teeth in general to kind of take a break from all their productions and, you know, focus on, you know, friends, family, togetherness, and, you know, celebrating the holidays. And we're actually getting a chapter the week after. So the next chapter we get is going to be the weekend leading into the new year. I forgot what the date is. I think it's the 30th. Don't quote me on that. Yes, so Saturday, December 30th is when we get chapter 11. And if it's tallied correctly, the finale for Volume 5 is actually going to be on the 20th of January. January 20th, 2018 is going to be the finale chapter for Volume 5 if we don't get any other breaks between now and then. So, happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Yeah, I guess, depending on what you celebrate. Are you taking a holiday break? For me, oh, yeah, that's right. So, for myself, it is a break from, like, the traditional things that I do, you know, within the week. Like, the weekends I do my reactions. The weekends also I dedicate myself in my Discord server to discussing the latest chapter together. And then, you know, I go through the process of setting up these live stream discussions, setting up my reviews. So the week is basically going to be nothing really different, other than the fact that I'm not going to be doing anything RWBY-centric for this entire week. Next weekend, however, I might have a little bit of a delay when it comes to watching RWBY, because December 30th is like the day before New Year's Eve, and then Sunday's New Year's Eve, and then Monday's New Year's Day, Tuesday's my sister's birthday, and then, you know, that Wednesday is where kind of, you know, by that, actually, yeah, Tuesday, which would be the day that I do my live stream discussions, is my sister's birthday. So I actually might have, things might get pushed back a week for me personally, going into the new year, because there's so many things that are happening. I'm going to be celebrating, you know, getting together with my friends for New Year's Eve as well.
We're not here for your money.
It's Kieran. You were right the first time, smiley face. Also, did you watch
I was right the first time? Okay, good.
Rewind? Chapter 11 is supposed to be absolutely insane according to the panel, smiley face.
Really? No, actually, I did not watch RWBY Rewind. Actually, what happened was I've been screen capping this chapter all day today because I was supposed to do that yesterday, and what I ended up doing was I ended up watching the chapter instead of screen capping the chapter. So I set myself a little bit far back to yesterday. I also hung out with some friends yesterday. So today I kind of made up for the fact that I didn't really get much done yesterday, and I've been kind of fighting a sleeping schedule. So I've been trying to manage and work all of that out. But no, I usually watch RWBY Rewind, but I don't watch the previews for the following chapters, so that way I go into it completely blind. So, I mean, if they hyped it up, I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, this was a great chapter. This is a great, like, the pacing of this chapter and everything that happened in this chapter, I think, left a lot of people satisfied. And left a lot of people satisfied to where a week off is probably something that a lot of people would be, you know, would be okay with. Like, if it was another cliffhanger that they left off with, or just exposition and no action or no conclusion to anything, I can understand a lot of people being pissed off or, you know, upset, you know, especially since we'd have to wait another week before we find out what happens, because that's what they kind of done in the previous years. Like, they gave us massive cliffhangers, and then we'd go on this break, and we'd have to wait 2+ weeks to get back to the chapter. So, yeah, RWBY Rewind didn't air a preview this time. Oh, it didn't? Really? Yeah, so they usually do that every week. Huh. That's interesting. I guess because the following week we're not getting one, but then does that mean we're going to get a RWBY Rewind preview next Wednesday to preview for the, you know what I mean? So I find that really interesting that they didn't do that. So I guess they kind of just verbally hyped up the next chapter. Yeah, because at this point, I feel like things are going to ramp up for the finale. Like, this is where, you know, especially with those last 2 chapters that they added to the volume. We're getting 14 chapters this year, so I assume the need for 2 more chapters means that they're kind of going above and beyond to kind of end off Volume 5 on a high note. And I like the fact that at least Carrie has identified and acknowledged the fact that there are a lot of pacing issues with, you know, the mentions, like when he mentioned that RWBY would be going on a break, he mentioned, you know, insert standing around and talking joke here. So they've, you know, they've definitely acknowledged the fact that the fandom has been very vocal about the pacing being very slow for Volume 5, especially with Blake's story. But I think the best way to put it...
We're not here for your money.
When Ghira was stabbed, Ghira, at 2 Fenegas.
Yeah, I got... You'll see my reaction to that. I literally thought Ghira was going to die at that point. I thought that was like the setup for his death, because he got stabbed in the back, and I was like, shit, he's got no aura, he just got stabbed in the back. Like, I didn't know what to expect. It was a crazy chapter, but my friend Josh put it perfectly. He said that he wasn't the biggest fan of how Blake's story started, and it was a very slow process for Menagerie, you know, and Blake and Ilia's story, you know, with Sun and her family and everything. But he couldn't have imagined a better way for them to end Blake's arc story in Menagerie, and I tend to agree with that. And I too have vocalized to an extent how you know, Menagerie's story plot has been a little bit lacking, you know, with a lot of regurgitated information and stuff like that, and it was just a very slow-paced run, and this chapter just proves that it was kind of all worth it in the end, and they really ended it off on a really great note. My big question is, where is Neo? I don't even know. Like, she's clearly not in Menagerie, so if anything, at this point, any relevance of Neo would be at the mainland, or one of the kingdoms, rather, I should say. But yeah, so thank you guys all for joining. I really appreciate it. We're going to get into this discussion. Also, I teased this a little bit on Twitter, but I am going to be trying something a little different for a couple of points that I want to make in, you know, in this chapter regarding the action sequences. I'll mention it in more detail as we get further along in the discussion, but there is, I think I'm going to be utilizing this aspect of discussion when it comes to action, or when it comes to very action-oriented scenes that I feel the traditional way that I go about it doesn't really do it justice. So I guess I'll leave it off at that. You guys will obviously know what I'm talking about once we get to it, and I feel like it'll just be more dynamic of a discussion instead of what you guys are used to. So yeah, and as always, if you guys are new here, I know we have a few new people in here. Typically what I do is there's over 400 people in the chat right now. We're about 15 minutes into the stream, and I usually dedicate the first 10 minutes or so to people joining, people chatting with each other, you know, welcoming each other, and you know, just filling up the chat for the discussion. And then once we kick it off, I put slow-mo chat on so that way I can read everyone's comments in an orderly fashion, so everything isn't just a massive cluster. So slow chat will be going on. You'll have you can comment once every 45 seconds, so it kind of tempers people to kind of comment when a specific point is made, or when they want to, you know, throw their hat into the ring in terms of the discussion when I'm reading the chat. And it gives me a way of being able to read everyone's comments in a timely manner. If some get missed, you know, it's just the luck of the draw in that regard. But it's a way of me being able to keep things, you know, be up to pace with everybody in the chat, because these kind of get really crazy. Got a comment before slow. Hey, Caleb, what's up, dude? Welcome. Thanks for joining. Great to see you in the chat, man. I appreciate the support. Welcome. Thank you, mods, as well, for the job that you guys do. I really appreciate that as well. And I guess now would be a better time than any to start our discussion. So, first off, I'm going to put slow chat on, because I just mentioned slow chat, but knowing me, I'm going to forget as soon as I mention it. All right. Okay, there you go. Boom. Slow chat is now on. So use it wisely, guys. You guys know the drill by now, so I'm gonna move my camera over. All right. So I guess before I get into anything, and I should have mentioned this before I put slow chat on. That's my mistake. But what did you guys think of the chapter? I think a lot of people did enjoy it. There were still some people that felt unsatisfied to an extent, but overall, what do you guys like? Obviously, I'm gushing right now. You guys are gonna see my reaction this weekend. I personally cannot wait. I think Saturday. So I think this Saturday, because there's no RWBY episode, I think I'm gonna spend my entire Saturday just watching everybody who posts RWBY reactions to Chapter 10. Like, I'm looking forward to everyone who like I normally watch I try to watch everybody's reactions in the community that I can, but this episode in particular is one that I'm really, really, really excited to see, because there were so many different points of reference. Like, there were so many different points. Like, there was the Blake and Ilia moments, there was the Ghira and, you know, Corsac and Fennec moment, there was the Sun and Ilia moment, and it was just overall the wrapping up of Blake and kind of overall wrapping up of the Menagerie setting and everything like that. I felt like it did feel like it was overstaying its welcome, especially since it was, you know, established in Volume 4, and, you know, it's been just a steady grind the entire time to kind of get to this final point. I'm glad the Blake Menagerie arc is over. I felt like it was very stretched out. I can understand that, definitely. I went into this chapter overly worried and anxious that someone was going to die. I was very pleased that my favorite character was redeemed and no one I cared about died. Dang, man. No love for Fennec. I see. 8.5 out of 10. Definitely one of the best episodes. Oh boy, I cannot. Oh my god. Oh my god. It was such a good chapter. Unfortunately, I didn't think Blake's parents were still going to wait, I don't think Blake's parents are still going to die during the defending of Haven Academy. No, at this point, I feel like they don't have a hit on them, at least not from the angle that was given to us. I mean, Adam is still about, you know, he's still out about in the world, so if he realizes that things aren't done, he might take matters into his own hands, so there is no immediate threat, there is no immediate danger right now, but you know, I feel like the threat level is more placed on Ilia, especially because, you know, Corsac and Fennec relayed the information from Adam to her.
I felt bad for the Albane brothers. You can see the concern the two had for each other
I noticed
when any
that.
of them got hurt. I actually got sad that Fennec died, and you can see the pain in Corsac from that. The two care for each other. Sad that someone had to die.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, they weren't the best characters, right? They're trying to kill innocent people, like, literally innocent people who are only trying to help, you know, in a positive light. I did appreciate the fact that they at least showed concern for each other, being brothers, right? Like, when one of them accidentally, like, misdirected because of Ghira and shot his brother. I did appreciate that, and how they kind of always had each other's back. But at the same time, it's like, I can't really root for you because you're batshit crazy, right? Like, I don't know, they were just on the wrong side of history. They were on the wrong side of their cause at the end of the day. No matter if they thought they were in the right or they thought what was, you know, what they were doing was best for their people. But I do appreciate that sentiment. Oh my god, Kali's a fucking beast. Oh my god. Yo, so so before I get into the discussion, Kevin Murs, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. So is Blake the first of Team RWBY to straight up murder someone? No pun intended. I don't think she's, well, so murder, I assume murder is like, it's intentional, right? And I don't think her intent was to lead to Corsac, I'm sorry, Fennec getting killed. She was primarily trying to save her dad, like, she, like, was focusing on him, and he kind of just got caught in the crossfires and in the aftermath of that. So, I don't think so, and I don't think it's wise for her to really kind of reflect on that, like, oh my god, my actions got somebody killed. It's like, it's kill or be killed. It was like, either he died or your dad died, so, you know, at that point, there really is no room for remorse.
Not here for your money.
Prediction. The invasion is fought off, but Raven gets the artifact. Leo and Adam die. The militaristic wing of the White Fang is disbanded, so the focus can shift to the fight against Salem.
Huh. Is that, like, long running? Because I don't even know if Adam... Well, yeah, Adam is actually... Yeah, Adam's actually going to be at the Fall of Haven. Yeah. I don't know, but I feel like Leo, in a way, will kind of redeem himself, will get his courage back. He is based on the cowardly lion. The lion eventually, you know, finds the courage in himself to kind of stand up to his friends and, you know, be brave, you know, in the Wizard of Oz. So I do feel like at the very end of things, like, Leo will try to make amends for what he has done at the cost probably of his life. But yeah, there's still too much at stake to really see where the chips fall in that regard. Am I late to the stream? I just finished RWBY Rewind not too long ago. No, you are just in time.
Hey Arnold.
Hey, what's up, Zach?
I just came by to say that this episode probably has to be my favorite in the volume.
Really?
After all the teasing and build up,
yeah, I definitely can see that.
I feel like this was...
Thank you very much, dude. I think this was like the payoff chapter that Rooster Teeth was waiting for, right? Like I said, Carrie has identified and he's acknowledged that, you know, pacing is something that they need to focus more on moving forward, and that, you know, they realize that they could have done that. You know, the pacing of a lot of things of characters just stand around and talking and telling rather than showing has been a concern that they're trying to tackle and improve on, and I appreciate that. But at the same time, like I mentioned, we were always going to get this. It was just a matter of patience and a matter of faith and understanding that, you know, we have to kind of go through these moments of progression and looking back on certain things and not just judging things as they are leading up to where we are now, because I've noticed also a lot of people who have been, like, kind of upset of how the first few, you know, upset of how Volume 5 has started. With this chapter, at least, have kind of almost turned over a new leaf and have realized, oh, wow, this was actually really good. This was worth, you know, all of the stuff that we've gone through the last 9 chapters. So, at this point, it's mainly how Rooster Teeth decides to work with this momentum after the holidays and what the last 4 chapters leave off on. So I think that's like the best thing that we can all hope for. Arnold, mention Adam, me. If he touches Blake again, someone is gonna have to hold me back. Yeah, I mean, Adam he's a threat, man. You can't sleep on Adam because, you know, he'll stab you and you'll die. So, or he'll stab you and you'll be gravely wounded. You know, he's got a lot of power, a lot of influence at this point. So he is a threat, and, you know, it is what it is in that regard. But anyways, without further ado, we're 25 minutes in. I'm going to try to make this as very smooth sailing as possible. I don't want to be here all night, of course, but, you know, I can never predict how long these discussions are going to last because I'm never right.
What do you think John's reaction going to be when he encounters Cinder again? How will it go, you think?
Very emotional, I would say. I mean, I can't even begin to know how he feels because he's so, I mean, he kind of, we've never really even seen him lash out. The only time that we've ever seen him have any type of cynical, like, demeanor has been towards Crow in Volume 4 after, you know, he talked about, you know, after he explained to them about the gods and relics and stuff like that, and he was talking about Pyrrha, and he seemed very, very jaded about everything. So, I can't even imagine because he's so, we haven't seen enough of that emotion to know if he's even okay in a situation like that. Like, how would he react? Would his teammates have to intervene to stop him? Would he, like, go off the deep end and kind of, like, go after her himself? You know what I mean? Like, he's got to think smart about it. He's the team leader. He's the strategist of the team. You know, and I feel like it wouldn't be out of character for him to do something like that, but at the same time, as much as Jaune has progressed, I would hope that he'd have a level-headed approach if he does see her again. You know, but at the same time, I feel like for Jaune especially, a character that has been, you know, I would say he has a lot of potential. I think him being able to confront someone like that would be really cool to see.
Safe to say that any credibility the White Fang had is merely a group of radicals gone too far in pursuit of equality has been shot to hell, as the attempt on the Belladonnas has made the Fang's true colors clear. Ghira has all the ammo he needs now.
Yeah, especially, yes, like that, then that in of itself is like, hey, a hit was put on us because of Adam, so that's all the ammo they need, especially. Jaune's semblance might be polarity thoughts. I don't believe so. I'm pretty sure everyone who thinks that also has watched Unicosaurus's video on that theory. Personally, I don't think it is. But anyways, let us begin the discussion, finally, with this opening moment here. Hold on, my desktop image just changed. I need to put that back, just because... Alright, we're good. Yeah, so, chapter starts off with Team Ranger. So at first, I was like, oh, wow, we're getting Team Ranger first. So I was kind of wondering where this was going to go, especially since Chapter 8 set us off with Ghira going up against the Albane brothers, and then Chapter 9 set us up with Ghira and Sun against the Albane brothers and Blake against Ilia. So I was like, okay, we're going to get this massive fight in Chapter 10. And then they started us off with Team, well, not Team Ranger, but in the Team Ranger setting. So I was very like, I really hope they get through whatever they have to get through here, because it was a 19-minute chapter too. So it was, you know, I felt like a lot of stuff could have still happened. But I did appreciate this moment here too, of, you know, them two just talking over coffee. You know, Team Ranger and company are off doing whatever else. I don't know, you know, where they could possibly be. They, you know, they're either outside or they're in a different part of the house. But, Crow, I guess at this point is reflecting on, you know, his recruitment of the other huntsmen that all are either KIA, MIA, you know, out in the field, busy, can't get back to you, you know, leave a message after the beep. And, it's kind of telling that Salem's forces are getting, you know, more prevalent, stronger, more widespread than just, you know, than just like your everyday average, because Crow even mentioned like these are top huntsmen and huntresses that are getting killed off left and right. And initially I thought it was just the fact of like, okay, this is the, you know, this is the life of a huntsman, you know, you live, you protect people, you die, cycle repeats, people replace you, yada yada yada. But it seems like Salem's forces are getting stronger, and by forces I would assume he means the Grimm. Which, one thing that I kind of want to mention to you guys, too, is, there's only 4 chapters left, right? There's only 4 chapters left in the volume, and one thing that we have not really seen this volume have been the creatures of Grimm. Now, I mean, granted, we saw the, you know, the Wasp Grimm in volume 2, and, you know, that's all fun, and, you know, it's obviously, it's always great to get new types of Grimm in the show, but the scale of what he's talking about, he's like, oh yeah, the Grimm are you know, Salem's forces are just getting more and more stronger, more widespread. I don't think we've really seen that at all. Like, the Grimm haven't really shown that they've been, like, wild and running rampant and out of control. And we have seen the, like I said, we saw the Lancer Grimm. Do you guys think we will see any new Grimm types before the volume is over? Because we typically get new Grimm types every volume, and I guess the Wasp Grimm would, you know, the Lancer Grimm would suffice. But because that was given to us so early in the 2nd chapter, and now we're at chapter 10 with 4 more chapters left, I personally feel like the fall of Haven is going to reinforce what happened at Beacon, which was like they had a lot of Grimm support because of the hysteria and the panic and all that other stuff. So, I don't know, do you guys think we'll see any type of, any new Grimm? Or even, you know what, I don't even care if we get new Grimm. I would just like to see Grimm revamped in the Maya engine that we have not seen yet from previous volumes. So, you know, like the King Tai G2, what other Grimm? King Tai G2, the Creepers, the Griffin. I thought the Griffin are like one of my favorite Grimm, and we haven't seen those Grimm since volume 3. You know what I mean? And they were just like they were only showed off in like in the latter half of the volume. So, the Goliath Grimm, yeah. Well, I think the Goliath Grimm I would assume those are more regional Grimm, because, I mean,
calm down.
They like live on the mountainsides. Like, how the hell's it? Oh shit, dude!
Consider this an early Christmas
Thank you very much.
If you don't celebrate Christmas, disregard the
I celebrate
previous
Christmas,
statement,
yes.
But here, buy yourself something nice. Also, all hail GUNCHUCKS.
Thank you very, very much for that. I appreciate it.
Calm down. We're not here for your money.
Oh!
Hey, Murder, love and respect your content.
Thank you very much, man.
Sadly, this chapter was a
Sorry,
pass for me.
Sadly, this chapter was a pass on me, really.
During a burning house and fight was pausing a lot and crying. Ilia was redeemed far too fast. The hype wasn't there for me.
I understand that. I don't think it was the fact that Ilia was redeemed too fast. It was the fact that Ilia really hasn't gotten her hands dirty, right? She doesn't really have blood on her hands. She was more on the bad side based on influence, based on not having, like, it's kind of like what Blake had mentioned in volume 1, right? Like how the Faunus, like the White Fang are a bunch of misguided Faunus. Like Blake was simply Ilia was simply misguided. She didn't have really anyone to teach her. You know, her parents were killed really early on, and the White Fang was kind of her family, and, you know, whatever they did, she went along with it. She even mentioned it too. She was like, I don't know what else to do. Like, this is all I know how to do. So, they're really, I don't know. Personally, I feel like it was a great approach that Blake simply forgave, because it's very hard to forgive people, especially if they wronged you. You know, in any way if they wronged you. Especially, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of up in the air for me, but I do understand where you're coming from. And Cave Bob Sponge Man, thank you very much for the donation, the early Christmas gift. I do appreciate that very, very much. Appreciate it. All hail Gunchucks, absolutely. But yeah, so this opening sequence here kind of just illustrates to me that I feel like the Grimm will be more of a focus in the last 4 chapters, especially since I'm pretty sure, you know, Adam and, you know, Salem's forces are banking on panic and fear to kind of reinforce Salem's Grimm to come in and kind of do cleanup along with the White Fang, just like Beacon Academy. So the only difference is I wonder if, you know, like the White Fang brought Grimm to the school at Beacon, so I'm wondering if they're gonna do the same thing at Haven. Just because they are like the core of the White Fang are actually stationed in Mistral already, so you know most of the heavy lifting will already be done for them. So I'm wondering, in that regard, I'm wondering how things are gonna play out. Moon Rose, welcome to the stream. Nope, you're not that late. We're still kind of early on in the discussion. Sorry to interrupt, but need to ask, what do you think is going to happen to Cinder? I think her grudge against RWBY might actually get her killed this time. Love your channel. Enjoy the holidays. Nikki, thank you very much for the $10 super chat. Appreciate it. What I think is going to happen to Cinder, I think she's going to get in massive trouble with Salem, because I think her grudge and her pride to get back at RWBY for what happened in Volume 3, and the fact that she's doing what Salem wants, but for the sake of an ulterior motive, which is to get to RWBY. And I feel like because she's taking this alternate path that will still bear the same results, I think that is in turn what is going to backfire on her, especially if RWBY triggers her silver eyes again, which is going to be I mean, I don't even know what to think if Cinder goes up against RWBY and RWBY uses her silver eyes on her again, especially when it's reflecting on like all the trauma and realizing like the comment someone mentioned earlier, they were like, oh, how do you think Jaune's gonna react to Cinder? It's like, how's RWBY gonna react to Cinder? RWBY actually saw Cinder kill Pyrrha. You know, one of the last people that she saw at the fall of Beacon was Cinder and Pyrrha. So I feel like the weight of that, it would be just as severe or just as stressful for RWBY to especially trigger her silver eyes again. Only this time, Cinder has the full utilization of the Fault Maiden's powers, on top of the fact that she might have some Grimm arm under the sleeve that we haven't seen since since the start of Volume 4. So, but yeah, if anything, I feel like a lot of things are gonna backfire. You know what Watts said, he's like, hey, you have this grudge with a kid, and our objective is right in front of us, but you want to go through all of these hoops and rings because you want to get back at a kid. You know what I mean? So I feel like her arrogance is gonna I feel like her arrogance is going to get the better of her, and it's gonna come back to bite her by the end. Or none of that, you know? Or she might run scot-free with everything that she wants and she has planned. So I was so upset by this moment. And by upset, I meant like in a playful way, like in a happy way. So RWBY asked the question, she starts talking about the relic, and I'm really glad she asked these questions because nobody in the show has asked. Like, the fandom has asked, I've personally asked, I'm like, okay, you know, Salem can't find the relic at Beacon, we're talking about the relic of knowledge and the Spring Maiden, but what about the Fall Maiden, what about the Beacon relic? And this freaking dude literally just comes out and says, he's like, my cane's not a... you know what I think? I don't think that was for RWBY. I think that was for people like me or people in the fandom like me who theorize that Ozpin's cane is the relic, and that's Ruby's way of just telling the audience like, hey, we hear you, we're hearing your theories, we're hearing your speculations, we don't want to get your hopes up, so in the best way possible, we're just going to flat out tell you that Ozpin's cane is not a relic. So, in a way, RWBY is thinking the same way that we are.
For your money.
Hey, what's up, J-Rock?
Murder. Tuned in a little late, but I'm here nonetheless.
Hey, better late than never.
Can't wait to hear your opinions on this insane chapter. Lots of discussing in the upcoming hours, I'm sure.
Absolutely, yes.
Keep up the good shit, and I'll be in the chat.
Thank you very much. J-Rock, also, you are here. Thank you very much for the donation last week. I actually got Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for my Nintendo Switch. Thanks to your early Christmas gift. So, personally, thank you very much. I just finished chapter 1, and it literally felt like the late part of the chapter, like after you, I don't want to say too much about it, but after you encounter, Pyra, I would say. It kind of felt like I was watching an anime. Like, I was playing the game, and then it just turned into an anime where I was just watching this awesome fight break out. So, thank you very much. I'm enjoying the game so far. My friend Anthony picked up the game too, so I also have someone personally to talk to about it. I mentioned it to you on Discord in the direct message, but I don't know if you read it, or if you know, checked it out since then, but I've been playing the game a bit. I'm a few hours in. I might stream it, not entirely sure, but I just wanted to let you know that I did get the game, and I do appreciate the fact that you know, enabled me to be able to get it. So thank you very much for that. It's Rhine time. I miss Shulk and Rhine so bad. Like, I'm so upset that it's a Xenoblade game, but it's a completely different world. It's a completely different concept. It's I don't know. It's kind of just, it feels the same but different, right? Like, I feel like the sword that I have right now is like a wannabe Monado. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just wanted to say again, Jarek, I know you're in here now, so I personally just want to say thank you very much for that. I do appreciate it. Ozpin broke the fourth wall with the cane being a relic comment. Exactly. And I think they did that solely for the fact that I guess they have like plans for how they want to reveal the beacon relic in particular, because Ozpin even mentioned, he said, you know, he mentioned, he's like, I have, you know, that relic in particular is a little bit more trickier to kind of go through, so he kind of weaved a little I don't want to say like a spell or something, but he made it a little bit more difficult to find that one than just walking into a vault and picking it up and leaving. So, does Ozpin know what Ruby did at Beacon? I assume he does, because Crow knew what she did. So, you know, Crow mentioned, he was like, you know, at the end of Volume 3, like, when she was like, you guys keep saying that I did something, what are you talking about? So I assume Crow has filled in Ozpin on whatever has happened since the fall of Beacon, if he wasn't there present, you know, during the aftermath, because he was fighting Cinder and he got killed and he got reincarnated. Ozpin said the cane itself is not a relic, but what if the relic is stored in that cane? Ozpin did say the cane has a few tricks up its sleeve. I mean, I feel like it was one and the same for me, right? Like, some people mentioned that, some people were like, it's the cane. Some people said the relic is within the cane, but I feel like both of those answers are kind of one and the same. It's like, okay, I don't know. Well, actually, it actually really isn't, because for those of you who didn't watch Harry Potter, one of the Deathly Hallows was located inside of the Golden Snitch, which was, so you wouldn't say the Golden Snitch was one of the Deathly Hallows, you know, so I guess in that way it works, but no, I don't think so. I think the cane itself is imbued with magic that Ozpin is able to master and utilize, which I feel like those might be the secrets and the tricks that it has up its sleeve. Especially if we ever see Oscar or Ozpin, you know, Oscar Ozpin fight again. You know, especially utilizing Oscar, you know, as a vessel to actually fight and be more limber and more agile, that he's in a younger body and whatnot. So the cane is also a gun. Yeah, it's semantics. Thank you. I couldn't find the right word to say that, and I just go on rambling. But yeah, it's basically semantics to say that it's the cane or it's inside the cane. It's one and the same in my opinion. For your money.
I just watched RW Rewind, and they said they won't tease the new chapter.
They said they won't tease the new chapter because something big is
going to happen.
Oh my god!
What do you think? Will it like getting back to Team RWBY?
I don't know. Like, it's so exciting because I don't know where they're gonna go, or what could possibly be like I can't even form like coherent words right now, because I can't even think about what they could possibly do, to the point where they don't want to show us anything. So I haven't seen RWBY Rewind. I'll watch it tomorrow when it's posted on the RT site, but I didn't get to watch it live tonight because I was prepping for the discussion. But yeah, Jesus Christ, I can't wait for that. So anyways, I just thought that it was kind of funny that they kind of broke the fourth wall with Ozpin telling RWBY, and really telling the viewers, myself in particular, Ozpin's cane is not a relic. This is something that I've been talking about since Volume 4, speculating even earlier than that. The significance of Ozpin's cane in particular, the fact that he always has it on him, the fact that we haven't really seen what he's capable of doing with it, the fact that when Salem couldn't find the relic, subsequently, Crow had Ozpin's cane, and if he didn't take Ozpin's cane, maybe that, you know what I mean? Like, there were just so many things that pointed to the fact that it could have been the cane, and the fact that it wasn't, I was so upset, I was so salty, I was like, are you serious? Like, I've been theorizing this for so long, so many people have, and they just flat out are like, nice try, guys, but nope. So, I hope Zwei's in the next episode. That'd be a cool reveal if they did that. Just to kind of get us hyped up, because we haven't seen Zwei in so long, like in action especially. But yeah, I just thought that that was a little, a neat little factor, little mention, so to speak. And then they get the call from Leo, and this is where kind of Raven's plans start coming to fruition. And I was actually really shocked by that moment. I was shocked by the fact that, you know, I do like the fact that their guard is up, and they do realize that things aren't kind of unfolding the way that they, like Leo's plans are kind of changing on the fly. Like initially he was like, there's nothing I can do. And then at the last minute, they're like, hey, there's something I can do. So I do like the fact that Ozpin and Crow still very much have their wits about them, and they're like, okay, they're not trustworthy of Leo right now, which that's like the best thing that I love. I love the fact that they're not just running into it blind, and hopefully they have some contingency plans in case something goes off, which it is gonna happen. Yeah, exactly. It's a setup on them, but I like the fact that they're being very tactful about it. They're not like, showing off their, showing their hand or jumping the gun too soon. But it seems like they will probably have something lined up, or something, kind of like a counter plan or a counter, like they're going to be set up, but they're going to have a counter plan to that setup, so things kind of work in their favor. But yeah, I was very surprised that, and you guys are going to lose me here for a second for this next upcoming scene here. But, I was really surprised that Raven, so Raven was kind of smart, right? So, because last chapter, I was like, oh shit, she's using her portal to teleport to Crow, so she's gonna tell them about, about Cinder and everybody.
Raven could easily tell that Leo was lying to her. But I feel like Lionheart's question at the end may have been enough to lower her walls.
It's still so hard to tell, because he's very aware of what he's doing, and it doesn't seem like he's going to kind of realize the error of his ways and turn over a new leaf at the last minute just because she's here. But I literally thought, like, last chapter, I was like, oh my god, Raven used her portal, she's where Crow and them are, she's gonna tell them about Leo, she's gonna tell them about Cinder and about this whole plan, and they're gonna plan a counter, they're gonna plan a counter force for that ambush, and she literally just used the portal to get to Mistral. She didn't even use the portal to talk to her brother, so she kind of used him as a segue just to get to the academy faster, which I guess makes sense, but definitely went over my head because I wasn't expecting that. And, like, this whole thing here, too, like, she's talking about how, he's doing it to survive, right? Like, Leo's doing it because he's scared, he's a coward, and, Raven is kind of doing it because she's smart, and she's trying, and she mentions, too, she's like, there's nothing to be ashamed of when it comes to survival, and he kind of asks her the question directly. He's like, who are you trying to convince, me or yourself? Because in a way, it's like, I wonder if she has second thoughts, or she double guesses or second guesses herself in that regard of, like, well, why are you helping her? You know what I mean? Like, are you really trying to help her to protect, like, these random bandits when the world is at stake, when eventually things are going to kind of collapse on everybody, yourself included? No, I meant, it seems like Raven doubts herself. Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. At least he's acknowledging his actions. Exactly. Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, it doesn't take a brain it doesn't take like a brain, I was gonna say a brain scientist. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize he's fucked up, and he's clearly shown that in his, like, his demeanor, especially after, like, Team Ranger left his office initially, when Watts showed up, and everything else that entails. But it just sucks that he realizes it, but he's not gonna stop. He's like, I've done terrible things. I don't know where I go from here. I screwed up big time. Ozpin's never gonna forgive me. But I'm still gonna do all those things anyway because I'm trying to save myself because I'm scared. And I don't know why they have this... I don't know why they... Like, it seems like everybody else has this, this notion that Salem is this unbeatable force that no one can stop, no one can beat, don't bother trying, but Ozpin doesn't, right? It could be very well the fact that, you know, he has infinite retries, he has infinite lives basically. He can just die, reincarnate, start all over again. But the fact that he's been at war with Salem for so long, I feel like that in of itself is a testament to the fact that maybe Salem is unstoppable. Maybe she is unbeatable, you know? He's had this reincarnation power since the Age of the Gods because he was unable to stop Salem in the past. But all of a sudden now he's like, but we must stop her now. It's like, well, if you've been walking Remnant for centuries, I assume you've been at war with Salem for centuries. And if centuries and centuries and centuries of battling has gotten you nowhere, it kind of reinforces that maybe she is unstoppable. You know, or can't. It kind of reminds me of the line of reminds me of Far Cry 3 for any of you guys who play Far Cry, from like the character Voss when he's like, do you know the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, expecting things to change. And that's literally what Ozpin is doing. He's like he's expressing and he's displaying like true insanity. The fact that he's constantly fighting Salem, all of these years, all of like hundreds of years, and nothing is happening. Well, I know it's Einstein's quote, but I remember like that the first time I ever heard that quote was from Voss from Far Cry 3. So that's kind of where I source it because that's where I first heard it from. But I just think that in of itself is crazy, and maybe that gives more credibility to why Salem is so... People are so fearful of her. It's like, we can't stop her. She's unstoppable. You know, it's like, and there's proof to back that up. Just look at Ozpin. He's been fighting her longer than any of us have been alive, and he hasn't made any progress. And I'm wondering why is this time different, right? Like, why is it now that he feels he has a shot, he has a chance? Another thing, too, is, like, when you think about all the variables that they're going through now, right? Like, Salem is going after the maidens. She's going after the relics. She's destroying the schools. What was this fight? What was this war between her and Ozpin like before the schools came about? You know what I mean? Or, like, why is it now that the maidens are being targeted and the schools are being targeted? And, you know, all this other stuff. Or rather, has all of this already happened before, right? And another cool thing, too, and I guess this is like a self-sustaining theory at this point, but there are talks that, and I'm pretty sure it's sourced somewhere in Volume 1. I have to go back and watch the Volume 1 commentaries, but I'm pretty sure that it's been stated that Ozpin's cane stores time. I don't know, like, personally, I like I said, I vaguely remember that. I haven't listened to the Volume 1 commentary in years. And I'm pretty sure that it is sourced in the RWBY wiki as well, and the source for that is the Volume 1 commentary. So I'm wondering if that is possible. What if, like, every time Ozpin fails, he, like, rewinds time itself and starts all over again? Because it would seem like if she's going after the relics and the maidens and the schools now, why didn't she do that in the past? Why is it now that she's doing it, and why is that her plan of action now if she hasn't been doing that prior? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just spitballing right now. That'd be kind of insane, like ridiculous, if Ozpin is literally Father Time on top of being Odin, on top of being the Wizard of Oz, on top of being, you know, the headmaster and the wizard, and, you know, I don't know. It's kind of crazy overall. Like, Ozpin is an anomaly in so many different ways, but, you know, Father Time, that'd be a cool reference to bring into RWBY as well. So, you know. Ozpin is the time wizard. Like from Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, that is great. But yeah, so, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just food for thought right now that I'm thinking about. So, shifting over, you guys are going to lose me for a bit here as well. Let's talk about best mom. Let's talk about best mom right now. So, I was really pissed off by this scene because you have Kali, who is of somewhat importance. She's got guards, you know, she's the wife of the chieftain of Menagerie. She's got all these guards, and I was so pissed off because there was a guard hiding behind one of the pillars while you have Kali over here fighting off these white Fang thugs by herself to the point where she has to pick up a serving tray to protect herself. I was so pissed off by that.
Yuma was really led astray. He bit off more than he could chew and got his just desserts. Cougar Mom completely served him.
She literally served him on a platter. Granted, it's not a silver platter, it's more of a serving tray, but you guys get the idea. Dude, I was so upset. I was so pissed. I was like, why is that guard literally hiding back there when you have Kali, who's fighting with nothing but a serving tray? And I was like, I literally said to myself, like, if Kali gets hurt, I'm gonna be so pissed off by the incompetence of these guards. Granted, the rabbit dude over here is getting choked out by Yuma, so, you know, there's not much he can do. And, you know, the last chapter, one of her guards got shot and, you know, knocked out. I don't know if this is the same one, because that dude was also a rabbit faunus too. So, if this is the same dude, then he's just having, like, the worst... He's just having the worst night possible. Like, he couldn't have trained for this, to get shot, and now he's getting choked out and, you know, almost to the point of dying. But then best mom Kali shows up and fucking bodies this dude. I really wish that they showed us, like, what actually went down. Like, I could just picture her just constantly, repeatedly just bashing him over the head with this serving tray until he's out cold. So, yeah, the one thing that I will say about the whole Yuma thing is, like, they kind of hyped him up a little bit, right? Like, being this assassin who killed the messenger, and he came off as, like, super badass, and then he was also there when they kind of ambushed Blake. So I was like, oh shit, we gotta look out for Yuma. He's like this assailant, he's all slick and sly, and he's a bat, and, you know, all this other stuff. And then he gets wrecked by Kali, who seemingly has no, you know, proper, you know, combat training. You know, she's using somebody else's weapon, she's using a serving tray, for Christ's sake. And I was just wondering if she was as combat ready as her husband was, right? Like, she was in the White Fang with him. I was wondering if she would ever go, like, motherly instincts, like Cat Feral, you know, status, and just, like, wreck him. But apparently, I guess she's too old for that at this point. So, no, Yuma can come back from that. Yuma can never come back from that. It's just too embarrassing. Yeah, actually, someone in the chat just said it. She is kind of like the Molly Weasley, if you think about it, in a way. She's like protecting her kids, protecting her house, and like anyone who gets in the way, you're getting wrecked. I swear to God, every time I initially say Yuma, I thought he was Adam without having the mask on or something. Oh, I can see that, except the goatee, and even the hair, kinda. Now that I think about it, he actually doesn't look like Adam. I take that back. Unless somebody can Photoshop Adam's mask on this image right here, if it looks more like Adam that way, but I don't know. I'm not entirely sure on that. Wasn't the guard that was hiding hurt? No, that was a female guard. I don't think there was a female guard that was hurt. I think that guard just had nothing else in her arsenal. So, you know, maybe she ran out of ammo or something, but then Kali picked up the tray and she was like, do you have a better idea? You're actually just sticking behind this freaking pillar, not doing anything. I'm doing more work than you, and she's probably paying you to protect her. So, wasn't she holding her arm, though? I don't know if she was. She extended her arm when she was like, ma'am, don't. So, I mean, I'm not entirely sure. It looked like she was just hiding. Like, from my perspective, it looked like she was hiding. I mean, she could have been hurt. But, Dr. Oaktree, serving tray is also a gun, confirmed. Right? Like, off screen, it just transforms into a gun and she just lights him up. Yo, what up, Jerry? How's it going, dude? Thanks for joining, bro. Was there a time gap between what's going on in Haven versus Menagerie? I could be wrong, but in Menagerie, they said the attack's 2 weeks out from a few days in Haven. Yeah, time is jumping around in the show. So, sequence of events are not happening moment to moment. They're actually happening within a span of days, within a span of weeks. Nothing is happening seamlessly. Everything is happening at different intervals. Each setting is happening at a different point in time across the entire Volume 5 timeline. So, there is no real way of indicating what events are happening until everybody is together when we have one cohesive one cohesive timeline where everyone is together, which I assume that's going to be when everyone converges on Haven Academy. So I think that's the only way that we'll ever really be able to tell when sequence of events are happening concurrently with each other. Which you guys already know how I feel about that. Let's just leave it at that. What are your predictions for Volume 6? I mean, we're not even done with Volume 5, so I can't even say. I'd assume eventually we'd be going to the other kingdoms if Haven does fall, because, you know, Haven falls, we just move to the next kingdom and then the next kingdom. But I feel like in that regard, if Haven does fall, we're not going to be here for very long, which it's very upsetting to me because I really wish that we spent as much time in Mistral, understanding the culture, seeing the different types of people and the different settings and environments, just like, you know, Beacon. You know, granted, Beacon, the setting for Beacon was the excuse for, you know, expressing Beacon and Vale was the fact that the school, you know, that the setting took place at the school. So no matter what, I feel like Beacon will be the most fleshed out of all 4 kingdoms, because right now we're in Haven, but we haven't seen really much on Mistral. The most that we've gotten from Mistral is based on the World of Remnants. And even then, I feel like that's not enough. We don't really know the culture. We don't really know the economics, the lifestyles, aside from what we were told in the World of Remnants, like I said. So, I mean, they don't even go to, like, shops and stuff like that. So it's kind of unfortunate that we're kind of stuck in this one area. We're stuck in the house that Team Ranger and company are at right now. Within Haven, and nothing else is really happening aside from what's going to happen at the school. So, how far in are we? I just joined. Oh my gosh, Soul Gloss.
Callie was awesome, but I was miffed that we didn't see her body him. Use the money to get yourself to get something nice for the holidays.
Thank you very much.
So can we please get a timeline? It is getting too convoluted for me to understand.
Oh my gosh, thank you very, very much for that, Soul. I appreciate it. I will absolutely put that to good use for the holiday season. Thank you very much. Yeah, I was miffed that we didn't get to see her body him. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I think we can just visualize her beating him over the head repeatedly with the serving tray until he's knocked out, tying him up. And a friend of mine actually mentioned, he was like, I wonder if Kali thought to herself, like, once everything died down, she's like, I'm gonna just walk in there, I'm gonna walk into this room with Yuma's body, like, unconscious, and just walk in there like an absolute badass. And that's basically what she did. She kind of just dragged him across her house to where her family was and just dropped him on his face. But yeah, I mean, a timeline, it would be nice. I don't know if or when we'll get that. I feel like if we do get that, it might be in the form of something like,
I think that Ozpin believes that because his power is dwindling so much, he thinks that. This is the last chance to stop Salem,
that makes
because
sense.
I bet he used to be able to fight her by himself, but at some point he knew he needed lieutenants due to him losing power.
Well, what I'm wondering, now that you mentioned that, Hutton, what I'm wondering is he able to siphon his powers back, right? Is he able to take back his powers, his magic from Crow and Raven for becoming birds, and is he able to go to all of these maidens and siphon his original power back from the maidens to reach his, you know, his wizardly pinnacle form, basically? I don't know if that is possible, because I feel like it's too much integrated into the world and integrated into, you know, everything that's happened so far. And, I mean, I don't really know if there was much risk giving it to them. I don't know if it's very easy to just take it back. But I'm wondering if that is a possibility, because if his power is dwindling, like you said, like, it's very easy to tell where all your magic is. It's in these 4 individual women who all have your maiden powers based on the magic you gave thousands of years ago, or decades ago, or, you know, centuries ago, rather. And then you have Crow and Raven, who have the ability to turn into birds, which is a portion of your power as well. So, I mean, if push comes to shove, I don't know if it's going to be like some Naruto shit, like the Jinchurikis, right? Like each, you know, the host of a tailed beast, if you extract the tailed beast, the host dies. So I don't know if it's anything like that, or if it's too ingrained in these people now to where it's like if you do it, there's no take backs. You can't get your power back. So, you know, who knows in that regard. But that could very well be a possibility. The fact that he's getting all of these he's gathering all of these people because now he's realizing, shit, I fucked up my only power source and I'm just giving it away left and right like candy. So Ozpin's mug is the real relic. Imagine, that'd be a crazy plot twist. He's always drinking coffee. Oh wait, I don't even know if that's coffee at this point, to be completely honest. Like Oopleck drinks coffee, right? Weiss drinks coffee. Ozpin, especially Crow doesn't drink coffee. Crow drinks alcohol, so who knows what he's actually drinking. Assuming she's going to Haven now, what do you think how Ilia's going to react to everyone else, particularly Weiss being a Schnee? I don't see there being much issue with it. You know what I mean? Like, I guess right now it's hard to tell because she is surrounded by faunus. So actually, now that I think about it, I don't think it'll be much. Like, if anything, it'll give her a perspective more on humans, right? She's only seen the black and white, like, she's had a very black and white perspective on people. She was like, there's humans that hate us, and then there's humans that kind of don't really do much to help our cause. But then I think if she sees people like Weiss, especially, who came off as this bitchy kind of character in Volume 1, had this warped perception of faunus, I feel like that'd be even better of a dynamic for Weiss to be friends with Ilia. And for Ilia to see, like, people like Weiss, especially, someone who's from royalty, part of the Schnee Dust Company, like, from Atlas, which are kind of, like, probably the true harbingers of a lot of faunus discrimination. I think that would be the best thing for Ilia, to kind of get that perspective on, hey, these are the type of people who I was talking about. You know, not everyone is bad, not everyone, you know, has it out for the faunus, not everyone doesn't care. So I think that interaction would be really great to get, especially for Ilia, to kind of give her a better perspective on humanity and people in general, instead of just faunus kind. Because this was very much a faunus, internal faunus issue, and everyone that she's interacting with right now is a faunus. Like, that's literally all the people in Menagerie are faunus. So it would be kind of cool to take her out of that element and put her around other people, and to kind of give her that moment. So personally, I'm looking forward to that. I really hope. And, you know, like I said, Blake is a lot more open-minded. She's a lot more accepting and caring and nurturing than she was in previous volume. Like, if this was Volume 1 Weiss, I'd be like, yo, keep them two away from each other. But especially now, I feel like that'd be really great to see. Let's see. You stabbed me. I love how Sun's payback, right? He was like, in Volume 1. I'm sorry, not Volume 1. Last volume, Volume 4, he was like, the next time I see Chameleon Girl, it'll be to get even. And his, well, I feel like he got even when he broke out the nunchucks, but we'll talk about that in a second. But, like, he just pinches her and he's like, all right, we're even. Also, by the fact that I bodied you in the house back there a little while ago with my sunchucks. But, you know, we're even now. So, I do appreciate... I do like that. I like how they kept it, like, very playful, and he didn't hold a grudge. Alright, so moving on from there, I really liked this moment here, like, with Ilia and Blake. So, someone made the joke last chapter, too, of, like, a Star Wars joke. He was like Ilia, she's like, I have the high ground, Anakin. And, I don't watch I've never seen Star Wars, so I don't really know how that goes, but, I guess, like, that's a really funny thing in I think it was episode 3. It's like, I have the high ground, Anakin. It's like, you will try, you know, Obi-Wan or whatever. So, I know a lot of people were making that joke, last weekend. So, it's over. I have the high ground. Yeah, I've never seen Star Wars. I'm sorry. Don't attack me. I'm sorry. Yeah. Never seen Lord of the Rings either. That's probably gonna flip a few people off. But yeah, I haven't seen a lot of things. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. What I will say though, I really liked how they utilized more of Blake's shadow clones. Like, her clones here worked a lot better than what I think they did in previous volumes, right? Like, in previous volumes, I don't think her clones reacted this way as well now as they do, like, in the past. Like, so I don't really know how to articulate this well. I don't know. I think it was maybe the effect, like the Maya effect of things. Like the clones still stick around, but she kind of phases through them, and then the original the original Blake appears from God knows where. And I like how they utilize that a lot. It's way better put together, like, than in Volume 3, right? When they faked out Blake getting her head chopped off. Like, it showed the effect for dramatic effect, and then it disappeared. Whereas these, it's kind of like instant, like, it's almost like a Kagebushi no Jutsu from, like, Naruto, right? Except they don't burst into clouds. They kind of just phase away. So I like that, and I like how Blake utilized that a lot. Another thing that I will say, I completely forgot that dust was even a thing in this show. Because we've seen it, but every so often I kind of get pulled out of the element every so often. Like when Blake was using her gun, you know, to use the ice dust, I was like, holy shit, that's such a cool idea. And then immediately I was like, I almost forgot dust was a thing. So, I don't know. I feel like we're exposed to it every so often that I almost feel like it's a non-existent thing. So, it's really great that at least Blake utilizes it a lot more in her fighting style. Obviously, Weiss does as well. But it's really great to just see Blake using again, like again in the last chapter, she used one of her ice clones. But it always escapes me that dust is a factor in this show. It's just very few and far between that we see it utilized in that way. What do you think about the episode? Everything? Oh, what do you like about the episode? Everything. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have already seen it, but I put out like this RWBY short video about this latest chapter using Corsac. The title was what was the title? It was basically like when people ask me what I like about RWBY, and it's literally just the quote of him shouting everything. I thought that was the funniest thing in the world before I posted it. Like, I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like, I could see that being a meme. And then I made a video of it, and I just kept watching it over and over and over again before I uploaded it. It was, like, I found myself laughing a lot at it, and then you just read the comments of everyone's own version of that line. Like, what do you hate about school? Everything! And you just see different iterations. I just love how it's like, it already has like 10,000 views, and I put it out like earlier today. So I just love how relevant that is for just like random shit, even if it goes beyond RWBY, but I love how I kind of made like an internal RWBY meme out of it. And if you haven't seen it, pull up a second tab, watch it. It's a 5-second video. Hopefully you get a laugh out of it, but I love how effortless it was to make, but how much you get out of it in that 5 seconds. It's so funny, dude. It's so funny. And I just thought of it on the spot too. I was just like, oh, like on the spot. Da 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 da. I have to do that every time I say on the spot. I'm not gonna do it again, because I just said on the spot to emphasize that you get what I mean. Anyways, I love that. Yeah, that meme was really great. I love how it turned out. Very simple, but overall. So back to the discussion. I was very pleased with how this whole sequence played out for Blake and Ilia. Like, I still felt like it was very, what's the word? I felt like, you know, I feel like Ilia and Blake's moments, every moment that we've gotten with Ilia and Blake since Volume 4 has been like the Dragon Ball Z effect, right? Like 20 episodes of talking, and then once talking is done, no more talking, like just straight up fighting and duking it out. And I was expecting that for this chapter too, but I still like how there was still a lot of moments of like tension and emotion, especially out of Ilia when it came to the whole situation. the fact that she's like still trying to get through to Ilia, even though they're both kind of fighting, and you know, I don't know if they were both trying to kill each other. Well, I think they were both trying to kill well, here's the thing. I think Ilia was actually trying to hurt Blake because she was like going through her clones and everything like that. And if, you know what I mean? Like if you weren't trying to really hurt Blake, I don't think you would have gone through the effort of making sure a lot of those clones felt the brute force of your attacks. And I appreciate the fact that Blake was still trying to get through to her, even though she realized they had to come to this point for that to happen. Yeah, Jeremy Lay, oh my god, such a great voice actor, such a great voice actress for Ilia. Lot of emotions in the latter parts of the fighting. For Blake and Ilia especially, and towards the end too, like the emotional moments for Ilia, like when she broke down crying, when she realized like I fucked up, I don't know what else to do, and then she fucked up and she like stopped Corsac at the end. Really great. I'm glad, like, it's so crazy how morbid I thought of this. It's just crazy how morbid we think about the show in hindsight, right? Because prior to this chapter, it was like, okay, either Ghira's gonna die, Ilia's gonna die, Kali's gonna die, both parents are gonna die, and it's kind of crazy that there was I had no way of kind of seeing an alternative like this. Like, this was the best alternative, the best result for anything that could have happened. And you know, not to say like, you know, obviously it's quote unquote unfortunate that Fennec died, but then again, he was a villain that was trying to kill innocent people, so he had it coming. You know, I feel bad in the sense that, you know, the two brothers actually at least cared about each other, and one of them ended up dying, and it didn't turn out to be worth it in the end. And that's just coming from the fact that I sympathize a lot with that. Like, even if, I don't know, it's kind of weird how I rationalize that, but I'm really happy that Ilia is alive and well. And this can do wonders for her character development, because she's been painted in one light as this villain, as this person who is losing redemption every step of the way, and all of a sudden she has that back. She has the potential to progress in the story, to be side by side with not just Blake and Sun, but with RWBY, with Yang, with Weiss, you know, with all of the Faunus, with, you know, everyone that's going to be protecting Haven Academy. And I really hope that this isn't like setting her up for an even like worse event of her being killed by Adam. You know what I mean? Especially since Adam, his whole goal, right? Adam's whole goal is to, you know, to destroy everything that Blake loves and cherishes, her friends, her family, and Ilia is on that list, especially now. You know what I mean? So, you know, he didn't get her parents. He got Yang to an extent, like cut her arm off. He didn't get her parents. So next on the list would be Ilia when the time is right. So I don't know. I don't want to feel morbid about this show. I don't want to be like, okay, who's next on the chopping block? Someone has to die. Someone has to pay the piper. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to think that, but I feel like for Ghira and Kali, we you know what I mean? Like, that was put in our heads to believe that, because they had a hit out on them. So the expectations of like, okay, if they die, that's what it's leading up to based on the setup for everything. But I really appreciate Ilia's character so much more now. Not that I didn't prior, it's just I felt very conflicted to be on her side, because it was clear that she was on the wrong side, and she was just this misguided person. Be it inexperience, be it maybe her age, or the influence that the White Fang and Adam have on her, to the fact that she wasn't really able to think any other way because she was so influenced by them at such a young age. You know, that could have been just as much of a difficult choice for Blake to make, except Blake made that choice on her own. She didn't really have anyone influencing her like Ilia has now. So yeah, but Ilia's voice actress is incredible, and that's another reason why I'm happy that Blake is still alive, because then that means we get more Jeremy. So I'm really happy about that. Really great. And I want to see where her character goes to, like not just for the redemption factor of like, okay, realizing the error of your ways, and, you know, actually helping out, and, you know, being reliable for everybody, that, you know, you know, needs your support and needs your help, but also just giving her more perspective on just life in general. I feel like she's lived in this box. She's lived in this bubble that is her faunus, white fang, you know, persona or lifestyle. And it's like I mentioned earlier, I really want her to interact with humans like RWBY, like Yang, like Weiss, and to just see the breath of life that each character brings to the table, and how everything is not like it used to be, and maybe giving her a little bit more, like broadening her horizons in that regard. Solid dramatic misdirection. Yeah. Let's see. I hope in the upcoming episode, RWBY and company are struggling to defend Haven, and suddenly the Faunus army arrives to reinforce Blake back. That'd be great. I could definitely picture that, like them just getting sideswiped by an army of Faunus. That'd be really cool. And then it'd be like Faunus versus Faunus, because like the main threat or the main force that's going to be the driving force for the enemies is the White Fang. And what better people to combat the White Fang than their own kind? You know what I mean? In many ways, they could even turn the tides and kind of convince the White Fang that are working for Adam to be like, hey, look, we're just as bad as humans are, and, you know, basically just reiterate Blake's speech, because I feel like Blake's speech was way better than her dad's, and I feel like maybe that would have been the speech that the Faunus needed to hear before she got cut off from Ilia a few chapters back, and that could have turned the tides and made things go by a lot sooner, but I think it worked out either way. So, really like this whole dynamic as well. Also, love the, I didn't mention it in the reaction, and I noticed it after the fact, but shout out to the facial features. Actually, I think I did mention that. Yeah, I did mention it on the bottom one, like this one right here, when Blake's in the dark. It just, I don't know why, but it's just like the facial features are just really, really well done for any given situation. Whether it's like a happy moment or a tense moment or a sad moment, like the facial expressions have only gotten better with each volume. Volume 4 and Volume 5 being the most expressive especially. So, she's got like that scared cat look on the top one, and then the bottom one is like a very tense look. So, I don't know, I just appreciated those like little tiny details, and, you know, they're very quick to miss out on, especially because, you know, you're going through all these high, intense moments, moment by moment, so, I had to screen cap those and just give a quick mention on them. LOL, she looks like a psycho. What do you think Salem's fighting style is? I don't even know if Salem... No way, dude. Like, I don't know. I feel like Salem just has, like, magic, like... I don't know. I have no idea. Like, Salem doesn't have a fighting style. Like, Salem's, like, one of the only people... I don't know. Does she even have a weapon? Does she... Is it also a gun? You know what I mean? Like, does she just use, like, some dark magic? Does she just use Grimm? I don't know. I couldn't even picture Salem fighting in a fight, because she doesn't even look like a fighter. You know what I mean? Like, she's not... And I don't mean, like, in the sense of, like, Watts or in the sense of, like, Jacques. I mean, like, she just seems so not a fighter. I don't know how else to put it. She uses the Force. Honestly, I feel like she might do something like that. Like, she'll use, like, Grimm influence, or she just summons enemies to fight as she's around, like, as... I don't know. I literally don't know. And I sound like a broken record, so I'll just leave it at that. I don't know. I don't know how else to emphasize that. Okay, so you guys are gonna lose me really quick. I want to talk about this moment right here, because I had a discussion at length with a friend of mine about this moment here, and I mentioned this in my reaction as well. So when Ilia takes off her mask, turns out the lights, goes chameleon form, like pitch black, the first thing I mentioned in my reaction when that happened was, Ilia, that's not gonna work. Most Faunus have nearly perfect sight in the dark. Like, that's sourced since Volume 1. And then it's even brought up in Volume 2, when Blake and Sun are at the Faunus rally, right? And you know, Tortrix onto them, and they're like, and Blake's like, oh, he can't see in the dark, and she shoots out the lights, and they get away. Like, Faunus typically have perfect sight. Not all of them, but like nearly all Faunus have perfect sight in the dark. And I think what RWBY was trying to emphasize here is, so we already know Ilia is a chameleon. She's a chameleon Faunus, and chameleons have the trait of being able to camouflage themselves with their surroundings, right? I'm willing to give off the suspension of disbelief that even though Blake does have perfect sight in the dark, the fact that Ilia is a chameleon Faunus should give more emphasis on the fact that you shouldn't be able to see her. Like, you could probably see others, but you shouldn't be able to see Ilia because she's a chameleon and she has that camouflage trait intact. Even if she's blending in with the black, you know what I mean? It's not like, I don't think she picks up, I don't think the Faunus have like heat vision, you know, like infrared vision where they can detect heat signatures, because at that point, that's a flaw. Like, she should be able to see her regardless. But, I feel like that, I mean, obviously that's what they were going for. I feel like if people were too critical of this moment, you really have to weigh in like a suspension of disbelief. It's like, okay, we get it. We understand Faunus have perfect sight, but even still, you have to still understand that, like, I can barely see Ilia in this, like, all I can see is Ilia's eyes and her teeth in this picture from where I'm standing right now. And very much so, that's the illusion that they're trying to give off in the episode. So, I don't, personally, I'm not taking it literally. Like I said, suspension of disbelief, she's a chameleon, that's what they're going for. But I'm just kind of bringing this up because I know there's a lot of people that, like I said, I had a discussion with one person in particular who kind of was like egging on the fact of like this, it shouldn't have been like that. Like, Blake should have been able to see her because of that. So I was kind of arguing against that. I was like, well, clearly I know what RWBY was trying to do. I'm pretty sure most people realize what they were trying to do, and it shouldn't have been taken to such a literal degree. So, perfectly clean teeth and eyes. Well, I mean, teeth, yeah, but eyes? Yeah, night vision means you can pick out shapes in the dark, not colors usually. Yeah, and since she's, like, blended in perfectly with the darkness, it, like, just like in, a few chapters back, right, when Ilia ambushed Blake, Ilia was pitch black as she was walking out of the shadows, and Blake responded with Ilia, like with that upward inflection, almost as if questioning if that's her, because she didn't know it was her, and then she revealed herself, like, she took off, she kind of came out of the pitch black camouflage. So, again, that's kind of what they were getting at. So I feel like you shouldn't really look into it to that extreme degree. At that point, you kind of take yourself out of the moment if you're looking at it super, super, super critically, like, at that level. Like, clearly, like, us watching the show, it's like Blake. She's right in front of you. I can even see her, but I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. At this point, you get the idea. It's to emphasize the fact that she's a chameleon and whatnot. Also, like the fact that, like I mentioned right here, Blake still utilizes the dust cartridges, and I love how the earliest that we saw dust cartridges was Volume 2. Like, Weiss gave them to Blake, and now Blake uses them as a part of her arsenal, essentially, both for her shadow clones and as well with burning her house to the ground, which eventually happens. So Arnold dropped his camouflage. Yeah. Hey, is that a black joke? That's not funny. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I know what you guys meant. I kind of used that in my defense as well, just because it kind of works. But nah, I know what you guys meant. It's kind of funny. But yeah, like, she basically burns her house to the ground, and it's only here that she's actually able to see that she's blending in with the perfectly black, pitch black couch and chair, and just basically the whole interior of this house. Don't give me a heart attack, man. No, I'm just joking with it. I'm just joshing. Okay, this is where Okay, so I mentioned a little bit earlier that I'm kind of implementing a new kind of aspect to the discussions when it comes to action. So I think I'm going to do this from here on out. And before that, I will preface this by saying that screenshots are never going to do any action sequences to this extent any justice. And I'm kind of surprised that it took me up until this point to utilize this aspect of what I'm going to get into when it comes to action scenes and fighting scenes. Hold on, Arnold, do you realize that they were always using dust with their weapons? It's just not always strictly elemental. I understand that. Like, I know, like, dust is weaved into every facet of technology. Weaponry, ammunition, dust, you know, weaved into clothing. It's used as jewelry, and it's used to, you know, power all their weapons. I get that, but it's not as emphasized for the elements. So that's why, like I said, most of the time I forget dust is even a factor, because the bullets that they're shooting, it's like, those are actually dust bullets, but it's not emphasized, so it's kind of lost on me from time to time. But no, I do understand that, Lycon. Like I said, it's either a hit or miss for me. So anyways, I'm going to be utilizing this from here on out, and I'm going to be utilizing footage in the chapters whenever action is emphasized. And before anyone gets nervous about, oh my gosh, but what about copyrights, and what about your video getting blocked, and what about, you know, X, Y, and Z. So Rooster Teeth is cool with people using footage. The only reason why they emphasize that on reaction videos, while they're like, hey, don't put out your reaction until it's out on YouTube, is because a reaction video shows everything, video and audio. For this, I'm going to show footage, but it's only going to be visual. It's no audio is going to be a part of it, and they're only going to be like increments, so they're only going to be like a few seconds long, and that's kind of to emphasize the point that I'm trying to get across, because like I said, screenshots are not going to do action scenes, especially these action scenes. They're not going to do them justice. So I'm going to have like action scenes on loop when it comes to wanting to talk about and wanting to emphasize, and I think it gets the point across a lot better than if you know, if I had screenshots up. And for the sake, and for the fact that this is kind of like a review / discussion, the fact that I'm utilizing footage in this way is under fair use, so it kind of helps me out in that regard. It's not like I'm like, hey guys, let's just watch this whole fight scene and not add anything to the conversation. It's like, the reason why I want to have these is because it enriches the conversation a lot more. So, Arnold's evolving. Man, RIP channel incoming copyright claims. Trust me, I highly doubt it's going to be an issue. Trust me on that. And Arnold's now using GIFs. Literally one frame. What about your TLDR reviews? Well, my TLDR reviews comes out long after a chapter's out. So, and I'm putting my TLDR reviews on a little bit of a break right now, because I'm focusing on Twitch streaming. I'm not ending them. Like I said, they'll be coming back. I did make a community post about it on the channel. I don't know, some people see them, some people don't, but YouTube has basically made it to where I can actually make text posts onto the channel whenever I have like an update that isn't really warranted of making a video about it. So I am going to be putting the TLDRs on a little bit of a back burner. I'm still writing out the scripts every week that the chapter comes out. So when I get back to doing them, the scripts are going to be written and read off as if the chapter had just come out, because that's the perspective in which I'm writing them. So everything is still very much kosher. Everything is still very much off the cuff, the immediate moments that I watch the chapter. So the first one that I want to tackle and talk about is the Blake and Ilia sequence, which I really, 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 really liked. I think besides, obviously, the Black trailer, and, I mean, I wouldn't even really put it past the you know, Blake versus Torchwick. I felt like that was more of a skirmish. I just loved everything about these two right here. So, like, the slow motion effects, and it just felt very intense overall, because it's just a lot of emotions that are going on, like, especially with Ilia right here, when she's just calling out Blake, like, yo, if you're gonna fight me, like, actually mean it how you're gonna fight me. Like, don't just, you know, like, don't give me, like, 50%. Like, if you're actually trying to stop me than like go all out. So I and it's gone. No, like I said, this is the kind of format that I kind of want to go about when it comes to action at this extent. And like I said, also, today's Tuesday. The chapter's already available to anybody if they want to watch it as soon as possible on the RT site. So again, this is kind of, it shouldn't be anything new to anyone. Like, if you watch it on YouTube, then, you know, sucks to be you, I guess, in that regard, because you're a week behind. But, you can watch it as early as Tuesday if you were to watch it on the RT site. But I really... Alright, guys. You guys are blowing it way out of proportion. Single frame GIFs are my fetish. Yeah. Stop trying to hit me and hit me. Yeah, I don't know. I really like this moment, and a lot of emotions and very intense. Like, and I didn't really know where it was gonna go, especially just because it was like, this is their moment, this is their fight, and it's like, is Ilia gonna win? Is Blake gonna win? Is someone gonna jump in? You know, like, it was very hard to tell. I love this part right here. It's so good. Oh my god, the voice line, the delivery that, like I said, Jeremy Lays, she's like a goddess in human form.
Anyone else wonders about what happened to the other characters after the fall of Beacon? Like Glenda or Tyrion, because Tyrion failed on killing QROW and Salem wanted to speak with
I guess
him
the
about
bot
that,
can't
but
pronounce
we never
Crow's
get
name.
anything from that.
Well, Tyrion's getting a lecture right now from Salem, or has already gotten a lecture, has also gotten a new tale. And Galinda is AFK right now because her voice actress had a really bad falling out with Rooster Teeth, and they probably don't know who to voice act for Galinda right now. Not to mention she's at Vale, like, trying to get the school and everything back up to speed. So both factors, both in the show and out of the show, are affecting Galinda more than anything. But everybody else is just scattered. Everybody else is either back at home, back in their own kingdoms, or whatever. So it's gonna be a while for that. Don't get me started on the lack of Tyrion this volume. I mean, he shined a lot last volume, so I feel like, you know, I feel like this volume is probably going to be more so focused on Hazel and Watts and, you know, Cinder and company than Tyrion, especially since he kind of went all out last volume and kind of fell flat. But yeah, I loved this scene so much. Like, and then look right there, like that right there too, like the, she used another clone, and like, I just loved how much Blake was used, like right there too! Oh my gosh. Oh man. And I like the little neat effect at the beginning, like the slow motion effect where Blake had to catch her weapon and then get right back into the action. This was just really, this was executed really well. It just feels weird that, like, Blake is fighting and doing all of this with a giant, like, overcoat. Like, she's wearing that giant duster. I would feel like that should be getting in the way of her fighting, but it's not. You know, because, like, Ilia's just wearing, like, a one-suit, and I feel like she has more, or should have more mobility than Blake in that regard. That's me looking into it, but, I don't know, I just really like this action sequence. It came together really well. Like I said, a lot of emotions. I'm still glad that there was talking going on, but at the same time, there was just, like, no room for talking at this moment, except for right here, because Ilia's voice actress is really well. She gets the job done. So that's one of the aspects of the action that I'm going to be utilizing from this point on whenever I do discussions. However, if it's what a lot of people are mentioning in the chat, and a lot of people are scared and worried that this video is going to get copyright struck, then, I mean, I guess this is the first and last time that I'll do it, because clearly I don't want my channel to be at risk. But at the same time, under fair use and under the fact that I'm actually providing a discussion and, you know, a review format to talking about the footage, and there's not really much context. I mean, it's muted, so, you know, there's only the footage there, and it's spliced, and it's a few seconds. Everything should be fine. So, let's see. Just to get this out of the way, hold on, let me try that again. Exactly, the dark scene... Hold on, exactly. The dark scene was like... So we can see, but in reality, it's pitch black. Then again, I thought Faunus could see in the dark, so what the fuck? Nah, I get that. Exactly, like, what if it was truly emphasized that way? Like, what if it was dark and we couldn't see Ilia? Like, what if there was no character model in that room? We're just led to believe that she's in that room. That'd be super weird. It would come off weird for the viewer. So, again, I feel like that's more emphasis for the viewer's sake to kind of know where Ilia is. But in reality, pitch black darkness. Even though, granted, there's a little bit of moonlight coming in from the window, so, you know, that can compensate to an extent. Let's see, just to get this out of the way, I was taken out of the moment when Ghira and Corsac locked up and Corsac went toe-to-toe with Ghira. There was no way he matches Ghira in strength. Also, well, the one part about that I did appreciate is that he was trading blows with Ghira, but the one thing that I liked, and it kind of, I guess it was a little attention to detail. You're right, he doesn't match up with Ghira, but after he was trading blows, he locked up with Ghira, and then it showed him pivot back on one of his feet to kind of give him support. Because Ghira obviously is like just way more like just straight up raw power, and you know, he's way bigger and way taller than Corsac. So again, in that regard, it was very clear he obviously had his footing right to kind of hold up to fighting, you know, to kind of being locked up with Ghira in that regard. Do you think there will be a time skip for Blake? Well, there has to be at this point. Well, I guess that gives us a little bit of perspective now, right? That actually does, right? So, Ghira mentioned at the end of the chapter, and I'm going to mention this now in case I forget then. Ghira mentions at the end of the chapter, he's like, we have 2 weeks until the assault on Beacon. We need to train, we need to get, you know, equipment, we need to get all of these people, you know, we need transportation for everybody. And then she mentions the ship, she mentions the captain. She was like, oh, I know a captain who owes us a favor. So, that means it takes no more than 2 weeks to get from Menagerie to Mistral. So, I guess for Vale, it would be a little longer or a little shorter, depending on where the ports are. Because then I guess now we have a little bit of a frame of reference for how long it took Blake and Son to get from wherever they were docked in Vale to Menagerie. So, I guess in that regard, it's less than 2 weeks. It's less than a 2-week ship travel to get from point A to point B. I guess that's the closest thing that we're gonna get, you know, to and that's less than 2 weeks. That's if it takes like 2 weeks. Like the second they port, they just gotta book it straight to the school. So, how the hell are they gonna train all those people? I mean, you do what you can with what you can and with what you got. You know, a lot of those people, they're kind of living off on, you know, they kind of already done their fair share of quote-unquote fighting. And Blake mentioned too, like the people in Menagerie they came here because they were done with fighting. I don't know if they had a hand in the White Fang firsthand, or if they were a part of the Faunus Rights Revolution, if they were part of the Faunus War, or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure these aren't just, I'm pretty sure, at least the people that are going, I'm pretty sure they're not just like some random commoners that are like, yo, I'm just gonna, you know, I just cut wood every day. That's my job. That's how I pay the bills. That's how that's how I put food on my table. I'm gonna go and fight in this war that I am not trained to do or anything like that. And I don't think, clearly not everyone in Menagerie is just gonna up and leave. So it's only the ones that are willing and capable. Like, I doubt any women and children, I mean, granted, I'm pretty sure women can go, but, I mean, for the vast majority of that, it's not like people are being drafted. It's like, you're choosing to go, but for the most part, I know no kids are gonna go, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, someone has to stay behind to watch the kids, so it could very well be, if, you know, it can go either way. No simple farmers in this fight? Well, I mean, we have Oscar. He's a simple farm boy. Yang got to Haven rather quickly because she took a ship and then her bike, and then it looked like Team Ranger crossed the continent that Vale is on by foot. Yeah, it's just a matter of, like, it took them several months on foot, and Yang, she took a boat, and then she took her bike, and then she got her mom's portal. Well, granted, that was kind of being precise on the location, but just getting to the continent itself, not even the kingdom itself, like, right, just getting to Anima seemed like it was a little bit shorter. I mean, and Yang's, it wasn't short for Yang. They just did a montage for Yang's progression, so they're not going to show us the moment-to-moment events that got her from her house to the port, from the port to the continent, you know what I mean? So, obviously, it's going to feel a little bit shorter for Yang in that regard. How about we ask Rooster Teeth what a timeline is? Oh my god. Well, they already identified the fact of why they're doing it. They feel like it'll make up for any consistency issues or plot holes that may come about. And, you know, at the end of the day, it just kind of creates these holes that are these timeline holes, which I feel like are just as prevalent as plot holes. You know what I mean? Granted, a plot hole you can go back and fix. A timeline, it's like, if this happened at this specific point in time, I guess that can in and of itself turn into a plot hole. If you're inconsistent with sequence of events and how they happen. Hopefully they at least know how sequence of events happen, because if they also themselves don't, like, if they're just as confused as we are, then that's an issue. That's like a big issue that I'm gonna have with that. But, you know, I hope, like, one day, like, I have the Rooster Teeth, I have, like, the Red versus Blue book over there. I haven't watched it yet because I haven't read it yet because I'm not caught up with RWBY. But I hope someday, you know, later in the RWBY series, or maybe even when the show ends, they make a book like that for RWBY, and they give us a cohesive timeline. I remember they did that for Legend of Zelda. I'm pretty sure they did that for the Legend of Zelda Historia. And they gave, like, an accurate timeline of all of the different all of the different links, like the Hero of Time, the Hero of Twilight, I think that's what it's called, you know, and so on and so forth. And that was when the show was, I mean, the series was super late into its, you know, it was already established, and it had so many different games and iterations, but at some point they did make a timeline for it. And then Breath of the Wild came out. Yeah, I heard that timeline is, yeah, because it takes place over 100 years, so it's like, well, where does Link fall in that category? Is that what it's called? Like the Hero of Twilight? Like for Twilight Princess? I don't know. I know there's different titles for Link in each series. There's like a Hero of Time, and then there's another Hero of something, and then another Hero of something. I'm not entirely sure. I've only played Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild, and I've only beaten one Zelda game so far, and that's been Ocarina of Time, so I'm not the person to go to for that kind of information. The Hero of Limes. But yeah, let's see. Do you think that they're setting up this way so that Adam kills Ilia? I like her so much, but this is too happy for Rooster Teeth. I feel like a lot of people feel like this show is doom and gloom because of the fact that it's gotten a lot more serious. I don't think, like, this could very well be the option that they go with. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom for it. You know, Rooster Teeth isn't really known for that. At least I don't think so. And even if it is, there's always silver linings to tragedies or sad moments or you know, things like that. But yeah. The Hero of Twilight, Hero of Time, Hero of the Wind, and Hero of Men, etc. Huh. Oh, is the Hero of the Wind the Breath of the Wild one? Alright, give me 1 second, guys. I gotta check something really quick. But anyways, where are we right here? Okay, so this is, again, like I mentioned, utilizing the dust. And, I don't know. I guess the elemental ones are just more situational for certain, you know, obviously situations. But, they just come off as way more effective than standard ammunition for some reason. Which is, it's like, why don't you just use elemental dust the entire time, right? Like, RWBY uses fire dust from some, you know, at some point. Like, she used the fire cartridges and the lightning cartridges. Like she hit Nora with the lightning one. That was really useful. She used the fire one on the Geist, and it wasn't useful, but it was, like, it burned it, but it kind of caused more issues for the team. And then here as well, right, she's using ice bullets, which are used to freeze up Ilia's weapon, which, again, very useful in this situation. So, I don't know, like, why don't you just use elemental dust for the whole show at this point? Big mistake, yeah. I was frozen today. Do you think the relics have similarities to the Triforce? I doubt it, because isn't the Triforce 3 pieces and there's 4 relics? No, I don't think so. Maybe in terms of significance, but the Triforce is its own thing. The relics are their own thing. Every show, or I feel like every like story of like every work of fiction, be it fantasy or otherwise, or you know, yeah, I guess I would say fantasy, has that kind of ancient mystical artifact, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like Harry Potter has the Deathly Hallows. Full Metal Alchemist has the Philosopher's Stone. RWBY has the relics. You know what I mean? Like, trying to think. Those are the ones that immediately come to mind, because those are some shows and series that RWBY draws inspiration from. So I mean, like, the relics, I feel like it's understandable to have certain things like that. Or, you know, Legend of Zelda has the Triforce, you know what I mean? So, I wonder if you're excited for... I'm absolutely excited for GenLock. One of the biggest reasons why I'm excited for GenLock is because I am not a big fan of mech shows. And when I say I'm not a big fan, I don't watch a lot of mech shows. Mechs kind of turn me off in that regard. The only show that I ever watched that was a mech anime that I really, really liked was Zoids. And I think the only reason why I liked that was because the mechs were in the form of animals and creatures. And I thought that was way better than just being like a humanoid robot. You know what I mean? So I watched a little bit of Gundam. Didn't get past much in the 90s. I really didn't like Big O. I thought Big O was really boring. And that's considered like an OG classic to a lot of people. But yeah, Zoids was the only one that I ever really watched. I've never watched Gurren Lagann, and I really like Death Note, and a lot of people tell me to watch Code Geass, but Code Geass has mechs, and that's probably the only reason why I haven't watched it yet. But yeah, so I mean, it's kind of it's not a stigma. It's a struggle that I deal with. But I'm willing to give GenLock a chance because I know how passionate and I know how enthusiastic Gray is about mech shows, especially like the Gundam series, like Iron-Blooded Orphans, and he always, like, whenever mechs shows come up on fan service, he just goes on a rant, and you can tell that he really, really, really is passionate about it. And he's the director, and he's heading GenLock, and I'm really hoping that this show kind of gives a different perspective on the mech genre from Rooster Teeth's perspective, and I'm really looking forward to that in that regard, because that might open the doors for me to kind of give mech shows a chance after the fact. So, I like Power Rangers, but like I said, I also like Zoids because the Zoids were in the form of animals, and in Power Rangers, yeah, you get this big Megazord, but the individual Megazord pieces were also in the form of animals, so... So it kind of broke the mold in that regard. It kind of made it seem a lot cooler. Like, I was, holy shit. Like, I think that's why I also like Horizon Zero Dawn a lot, because Horizon Zero Dawn, you know, you're in this prehistoric setting, but you're fighting creatures that are, like, they're kind of based on real animals, but they're made out of they're machines. So I just find that super fascinating. So, that's another reason why I really like, and I liked Voltron. That's another show that I watched growing up. I didn't watch it, you know, continuously, but as a kid, I liked Voltron as well. I was like, holy shit, this is, it kind of felt like like the anime version of Power Rangers. I think that's why I watched that. What is GenLock? GenLock is Rooster Teeth's new 3D animated series that they're going to be working on probably in the next year or so, probably in 2018. Or, you know, they're going to have more information on it, and it's being worked on by the 3D animation team that works on RWBY and Red vs. Blue. and it's their new show that they're working on, and it's gonna focus on like mechs, and it's an original story created by Gray Haddock, voice of Roman Torchwick, head of Rooster Teeth Animation, and I have complete and utter faith in him. That's why I'm also willing to give it a shot, because I have complete faith in this story that he's trying to tell. Inuyasha was awesome. I love Inuyasha. Anyways, getting way off topic. Long story short, I don't watch a lot of mech anime, but I'm willing to give GenLock a shot. Moving forward from there, we got this moment. And I think in my reaction, I think I remember mentioning, I was like, the fan fictions are going to be going crazy with this one. And for obvious reasons, but this is the point where we got
Calm
the kind of
down. We're not here for your money.
Oh, what's up, Shane?
At least now we know that Blake would be on top if Rainbow were to happen.
Case in point, guys. Case in point. That's literally why I mentioned that in my reaction video. I was like, yep, they're gonna have a field day here. But no, I don't even know how to start back up with that. What was I saying? But no, like, I thought that this was, like, the turning point for Ilia. I was like, okay, we don't have to worry about Ilia anymore. She's breaking down. She's kind of expressing that, you know, she doesn't know any better. This is all she knows. She doesn't know what else to do. And to an extent, obviously, that's understandable. And she kind of breaks down here, and I'm like, okay, good. We don't have to worry about her. She realizes she's messed up. You know, she doesn't know what else to do. She's misguided. She needs help. Blake at least is able to do that. And then she starts fighting again. She like kicks Blake off to the side. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, make up your goddamn mind. Are you a friend or are you an enemy? Like, I was, oh my god. You know what I mean? And it's like, I felt like Ilia was very to and fro this entire, like, volume too. Because it's like, she says one thing, but then she expresses physically, like, when she gets called out for something, like, she has, like, a physical expression. Or she'll warn Blake about something. Or, you know, her and Blake will have this weird kind of dynamic where shit will be going down. They'll have their moment. They'll be like, hey, don't do this, don't do this. And she's trying to warn you, and she doesn't want to hurt you. But you're still willing to go through with it. So, I don't know.
Money.
Someone play George Michael, Careless Whisper.
Wait, what? I don't get it. Someone play George... Oh, okay, never mind. Now I get it. I read that and thought that two different ways in my head. Yeah, I was like, Ilia, are you that lost? Like, you would just you're just crying, like, I don't know what else to do. And then all of a sudden, Ghira busts through the wall, and she just kicks Blake off her and like knocks her off, and like, I'm like, and then she's fighting Sun. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what is happening to your character? Like, what do you want? You know what it is? Oh, I'm doing this. Where's my notebook? Okay. And speaking of Notebook, I'm going to take a page out of the movie The Notebook. So there's this one scene in The Notebook, and this is going in my TLDR review. There's one scene in The Notebook where the dude is like, what do you want? And the girl's just like, and he's like, tell me what you want. And I've seen so many memes of that. I'm literally doing that for Ilia. I'm going to be like, Ilia, hold on. Ilia, what, in all caps, what do you want? Exclamation point, question mark, question mark. Oh my god, I'm doing that. Yeah, that's going in my review for sure now. To be fair, Sun did attack. I get that. But it's not like she was like, hey, we're cool. She just kicked Blake off, so she was still hostile, I'd say. There was no reason to kick her and send her flying and knocking her into the couch. Or into the chair, rather. So I'm just like... I don't know. Now you're fighting Sun, and you're like dealing with all this stuff. If it wasn't for Ghira, you'd probably be crushed to death. I don't know.
Calm down. And
you got Roman Torch over here telling me to calm down.
Careless Whisper to the TLDR review.
Feel free to add Careless Whisper. Alright, I'll add that one as well then. I will cite you for credit for that one. Ah, hold on. Where's the page? I think I lost the page that I put it on. Oh. Hold on. Careless Whisper. Alright, there you go. Alright, fool, that was a death note. No, this isn't a death note. Hold on a second. That's not a death note. This is a death note. And, I have yet, I don't write anyone's name in this because I don't have a god complex. But yeah. Very easy to get, hold on, let me get these images off my screen. Very easy to get these two things mixed up. This is an actual one subject, 70-page college ruled notebook, and this is a death note. So, easy, very hard, like very easy to distinguish the two. Also, shout out to your boy, Lindell Taylor. He got it the worst. Anyways, I'm kind of getting off on a tangent. Yeah, I actually have one. Death Note was my favorite anime of all time until I watched Hunter x Hunter 2011. Hunter x Hunter is now my favorite anime of all time. Death Note is probably my third favorite. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is my second favorite. So yeah, that's a little tidbit of information if you didn't know that about me. Everyone in the chat's like, oh my god, he actually has one. I have never written anyone's name in that, and I don't think I ever will. That's kind of, it's kind of teetering on like, I don't know. Like, we all know what you're thinking if you're writing someone's name in a death note. So, it's literally, I have it for props. That's it. Oh, I should reenact that. I should be like, oh man, oh, I'm doing that. Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Give me. Oh, okay, never mind. Give me 1 second. I can't believe I'm doing it. What the fuck is wrong with me? So, look what I have. I literally just bought potato chips earlier today. I guess you guys know what's coming. No, I'm not gonna do it. Here comes the cringe. I'll take a potato chip and eat it. Oh! Except I'm not writing people's names in the book like delete, 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 and all that shit. You don't get it? Please watch Death Note. It's such a great anime. The funniest thing about that is, like, I literally just bought those potato. I didn't even plan this. I just bought those potato chips today. And one thing led to another. I was like, all right, this is a Death Note. And I was like, oh, wait, I got potato chips over there. So, you kind of have to do it at that point. Yeah, and I don't have any good music either, so that was kind of lame. I apologize for the cringe, everybody. No, sorry guys, I don't have any apples. I'm not a god of death. But anyways, let's get back on track. So, alright, so we got some fanfic going on right here. And then, oh yeah, so this part right here. Oh, man. Yeah, I thought Ghira was gonna die this chapter when I saw this. Like, just by the fact that that whole dagger went in his back. I was like, oh, he punctured a lung, he's dead. I got really scared. You guys will see it this weekend, but I got really scared. I was like, shit, he got it. Like, and that's always the thing that happens. When a character is caught off guard, like he jumped through the wall, knocked one of the brothers through, looks over, he's like, Blake! He's like, don't let your guard down, there's two of them! There should be another one behind you! Gets stabbed in the back. Doesn't have aura at this point. So, I don't know, I was just really scared. And the whole time this is happening, I'm just screaming. I'm like, where the fuck is, like, where's Sun? Like, where is he? Did he get, like, tossed in another room or something? So my friend has a theory, right? My friend has a theory that, Ghira actually, like charged Corsac through, like, multiple walls of his house and just ended up launching him into this room. Because it's not like the room is right next door, because Blake actually had to walk a bit to get to this, you know, she had to like do a bit of running to get to this part of the house. So my friend theorizes that he just like slammed Corsac through like a few walls to get over here, and Sun is trying to catch up, and the second brother's probably chasing him down. So same, I wondered what Sun was. Yeah, I was just like unless Sun is just waiting there for his moment to pounce, I was just really scared. I was like, okay, Ghira is probably gonna die right now, and Blake is kind of incapacitated. You got the second brother that's about to get up, and Sun is nowhere to be seen. So and I felt really sad. I was really upset by that, because he was coming through a lot in the last couple of chapters. Like I mentioned last week, he saved Blake in you know, in the chapter that she was getting ambushed, and then he like came through to help out Ghira when he was getting ambushed by one of those White Fang members. He jumped through the window, saved him. So I'm like, all right, Sun, you're on a good track record now, but now like where's my boy Sun? So now you're gonna shift the blame to Sun. Now you can be like, Sun, you had one job. And his literal words from last chapter, I won't let you dude, I'm doing that. I'm putting that in the TLDR as well. I'm gonna do a skit, right? I'm gonna do a skit where Sun says in the previous chapter, I won't let you down, sir, and then the next scene is gonna be Ghira getting stabbed in the back. Oh man, I love how these just come to me. I won't let you down, sir. And you know why? I think it's because Ghira told him to shut up, so he was like, you know what? You told me to shut up a few minutes ago. Now I'm gonna let you have your just desserts. Stabbed in back. Yeah, so that's gonna work out really, really well. Play Rickroll. Oh boy. I'm really looking forward to this TLDR now. Whenever I get to it, but it's gonna be really fun. Even stabbed in the back, Ghira's a yeah, Ghira's a fucking monster, dude. Like, this dude used to be the leader of the, like, this is like the real leader of the White Fang. I really wish we could have at least seen what Sienna Khan would have been capable of in a fight. I mean, for example, had she realized that she was about to get bodied by Adam, she might have had a better chance if she wasn't caught off guard. But, Ghira is like the true definition of a leader. Like, he's such a nice dad. Like, he's such a nice dad, like, from Volume 4 to now, but then straight goes beast mode, and it's just like, you don't want to fuck with this guy, right? So, I just love how, that works. And, I'm wondering, too, like, especially since we still have volume, the rest of this volume and, you know, potentially Volume 6, a lot of people, before any of this happened, a lot of people were wondering if we'd ever get a Ghira versus Hazel, because they're two big burly men, you know what I mean? Two hulking dudes, like, and like have massive stature, muscular and all that, and we know he's a faunus, but I'm wondering how well Hazel can hold himself off in a fight with Ghira. You know? We don't know what Ghira's semblance is. We know he has aura, so he potentially has a semblance, but I'm really surprised that he didn't use it in this, you know, especially when it's a fight for his life, especially, he didn't use his semblance. So, we know he has aura, so you have aura, you potentially have a semblance, but, you know, we don't really know how faunus utilize theirs, so, it's up in the air whether Ghira has one or not, but that could also be, like, something that he holds close to his chest, like, you know, holds his cards back a bit, and maybe we'll use it in a future fight. That'd be kind of cool. Oh, yeah, that's right. His aura was broken, so he couldn't use his semblance. Yeah, thank you for reminding me, Dan. Completely glossed over that. So, yeah, he wasn't able to use his semblance, so that's an aspect of him that we don't even know about, like, what his semblance is capable of. And I doubt it's hereditary. Most semblances are unique, besides, unless you're a Schnee. So, Hazel's probably much stronger than Ghira. I wonder. That'd be interesting. Let's see. I feel... Oh, hold on. I feel like Ilia is going to kill Adam or sacrifice herself to save Blake and is going to turn bright pink. Well, I mean, we already know how she feels about Blake. I do feel like... I feel like Ilia's character progression is going to cross paths with Adam in the future. Like, I feel like that's unavoidable at this point. Whether she dies from that, especially since Adam has made it perfectly clear that anyone that Blake values is on the chopping block in his eyes, that's like the real factor of like what is how far Adam is gonna go, especially like, is Blake gonna lose any more people along the way? You know, her parents were spared, but is anybody else? You know what I mean? Or even Sun, you know what I mean? Like, Sun is very close to Blake as well, so you know, he's very much at risk for being in Adam's crosshairs as Yang, or as Ilia, or as her parents, or anybody on Team RWBY at this point. So, I just hope if she goes up against Adam again, she's not alone. Like, especially if I hope it's like Blake and Yang versus Adam. Like, that'd be a great one, because they both have something. They both have kind of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. They both have baggage with him at this point. Yeah, I think that's the word I'm looking for. They both have baggage at this point. And one of the things, too, for this scene here that I'm going to mention, this is another action scene with Ghira. And this is what you were mentioning earlier. I didn't show off the second moment here. But yeah, this entire time, I do like that part there where he literally just picks up Fennec and just freaking body slams him into the ground. Or rather, power bombs him into the ground. Just a fucking monster. And then right here, like, when they lock, Corsac actually, like, positions himself so that way he can, like, sustain himself, like, while he's locked with Ghira. Because otherwise, Ghira's just gonna overwhelm him. So, is that a JoJo's reference? I mentioned in my reaction, I remember seeing, like, trading blows kind of like this, but I didn't know what anime it was from, and I don't know if it was one that I actually like watched. It might have been like a meme, or it might have been like a clip from a show that I watched, like the Odo. So I don't know what that's from or whatnot, but I think that could be a JoJo's reference. Cause I know a lot. I have so many friends that watch JoJo. And it could be very easily something that kind of just I glossed over from one of my friends showing it to me or something like that. Dio. Yeah, I know that meme. All Might? My Hero. Oh, it's it from My Hero Academia? I haven't really watched My Hero Academia. I've only watched the first couple episodes of My Hero Academia. I started it like a year ago, and I haven't gone back to watch it yet, just because I get caught up on things. So if I do start it like, I kind of want to go back to watch it, because they just announced the My Hero Academia One's Justice game, and I'm a big gamer, you know what I mean? But I know, like, if I play that game, I'm gonna have to watch the show, otherwise I'm gonna get spoiled on, like, characters and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm gonna put that in my review as well. I guess I'm gonna have to find, like, a clip of it then at that point in order to prevent myself from getting spoiled. But, I'll put that in. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do that one anyway, because that's like a reference. It's more of a reference than a joke. But, yeah, I'll still put the reference in there. No, I understand it. Like, My Hero Academia is becoming, like, the next big shonen, which I feel like it's great, because shows like Hunter x Hunter have ended for the time being, because the manga goes on hiatus, like, every couple months. You know, My Hero Academia ended, Fairy Tail has ended, Naruto, the manga, has ended. Granted, Boruto's going on, but it doesn't live up to the same standards as the original. So, like, Naruto has ended, pretty sure Bleach ended, so, like, there's not a lot of, like, top-tier shonen anymore, like there used to be. So, like, One Piece is still going strong. I know a lot of people have been hyping up this show called Black Clover. A lot of people saying Black Clover's, you know, getting up there to becoming one of the great shonen anime. And then My Hero Academia is basically not the new kid on the block, but like the kind of uncrowned king of shonen right now. I haven't watched Black Clover either, so I can't really say. I've just only heard the name. Oh boy. Well, when you say, so someone said My Hero Academia is entertaining though it doesn't deserve all of the hype. Deserving is kind of like what you make of it. Like, what's deserving? Like, it's hard to say if something is deserving of something, right? If people are willing to watch it, then yeah, it deserves it. Like, people worked on the show, you know, they want it to be successful, they want it to work, and they want people to like it and enjoy it. And if it reaches that status, then that's great. But I don't know. It's hard to say like if something is deserving of something. That's kind of like on a case by case basis, I would say. Not anything, you know, not anything over encompassing, so to speak. So, but yeah, Sun, the entire time I'm like, Sun, where are you? Like, why is Ghira fighting 2 guys by himself? I was getting so upset. I was getting so pissed off. I was like, Sun, like, where, like, at this point, you literally have to be standing outside of that wall, or outside of that hole in that wall. Like, it didn't make any sense, but I don't know. It felt just very weird and odd and kind of out of place in that regard. And then all of a sudden, there he goes, he shows up, and we got the return. So I know I haven't been up to date on my Arthur memes for Volume 5, and to an extent, I felt like, okay, everybody gets it. It's kind of boring. I kind of want to start doing something else. It's too predictable. Anytime you see a clenched fist moment, you know I'm going to probably say something or edit the video or something like that. So I was like, okay, like, I didn't really feel like doing them anymore. Because there were some that were in previous chapters, but I was like, okay, I mean, that was the crowning jewel for Volume 4. Volume 5, I kind of did the meme joke that I did earlier, like with the everything video. So I feel like that suffices. But then I was like, nah, I'm going to do it again. So I posted this one. And at this point, I posted this on Twitter with the caption, "Sometimes you make it too easy for me, RWBY." And I literally feel like they just do it now, because I feel like they do it and they know what to expect. Like, they're like, oh, all right, Arnold's going to have something to say about this scene right here, or this moment here. So, I mean, if you were around during my Volume 4 reactions and my Volume 4 discussions, there was a clenched fist moment that I had for every chapter of Volume 4. And I might go back and make a little funny video about Volume 4 and maybe even Volume 5, depending on what I can find, you know, regarding the Arthur memes. But, I don't know. They make it too easy for me, dude. Make it too easy. How are you seeing this early? It's on the, well, I'm a Rooster Teeth First member, so I'm a Double Gold member, so I can watch these. I watch the chapter when they come out on, I watch the chapter when it comes out every Saturday for First members. And every Tuesday, being today, anybody with a Rooster Teeth account can watch the latest chapter. You don't have to be a First member to do that. So, if you haven't seen the chapter, and you've been watching this discussion, you're getting yourself spoiled on purpose, because you can watch the chapter right now if you want. So yeah. Shout out to MurderofBirds. You're a cruel and vengeful god, Arnold. Oh, lost ya? Watts is the cable company. Oh, boy. Okay, so before I get into the next scene here, I want to personally express how emotional I felt during the reveal of Sun's gunchucks, right? It's been 4+ years since we've seen the gunchuck reveal in Volume 1, way back in 2013 during the finale of RWBY Volume 1. And I was at a loss. I got so hyped, and then I couldn't say anything after that, because it felt like, it's so crazy. Like, I I remember when I first watched the Gunchucks in Volume 1, and I swear to God, I watched that Gunchuck scene over and over and over for like the entire day. It was the coolest thing that I had ever seen in a show before. Like, I don't think I've ever done that in a show before where I'm like constantly rewinding. So many, just watching the same thing and just being completely mesmerized by it. And I've been doing that ever since this chapter came out. It felt very much like Monty, in the best way possible that I could say that. You know what I mean? Like, it like, the scene felt right for it. The speed was right. The weight and the transition. It literally felt like they learned so much from like choreography of everything that we've gotten of Sun so far. And I know that they're doing a death battle for him as well, or a death battle X with Sun versus somebody else. And so obviously they probably have like someone animating that as well who did this one. But it's just crazy to see. And on top of that, it's in the Maya engine, so I don't know. A lot of people that I've talked to in the last week before this chapter came out were very apprehensive about this scene because it was like the only standard that we had of it was one scene that we got 4 years ago by Monty, who animated that before RWBY ever existed. He animated that for a fighting music video that he did called My Lacan. Like, look up on YouTube, like, pull up a second tab, or after you're done watching this, look up My Lacan, MY space LECON. And it's a music video that Monty made years before RWBY. And I guess he had those animations, but he didn't have anything to purpose it. Like, he had no purpose for them. And then when RWBY came out, he was like, oh, I'll give Sun gunchucks. I'll use this nunchuck shotgun animation that I did for this music video and repurpose it for Sun Wukong. And like, it's just crazy how much he transcended something that had nothing to do with RWBY and made it into something that was RWBY. So then when it came out in the show, like, no one knew how to fucking rig it, how to make it work, because, you know, it was something that was beyond what they had worked on. So over the last 4 years, you know what I mean, we've only seen Sun in staff mode, right? We've never seen him actually use his gunchucks until now. And I'm so proud and I'm so happy that we actually see that, because I feel like it puts a lot of the naysaying to rest, right? A lot of people who kind of, I don't want to say they like to shit talk, like they like to shit on RWBY and you know, talk down to them and the work that they do and how hard they work on the show. But I feel like this just puts a lot of that to bed, and it's like, clearly RWBY has the potential to give us crazy ridiculous animation, but they like to demand or to expect that from them every chapter is kind of unrealistic. You know what I mean? But yeah, I've been watching this animation. I've been watching this animation sequence. Like I meant, oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Like, it feels, it's like perfect. Everything, like the transition from the shot, from the transition from the staff to the shot, like he winds up for the hit, which is why it does so much, like it literally like knocks her off her feet. And then everything else is just flair and awesomeness. And hold on, I'm gonna put a side-by-side right here actually, so we can kind of see it from two different perspectives. So obviously these are the only two instances that we've gotten the gunchucks. The volume 1 gunchuck reveal, I think, is 2 seconds longer than the volume 2 gunchuck reveal. So, I'm sorry, the volume 1 gunchuck reveal is 2 seconds longer than the volume 4 one. Granted, the volume 1 is all gunchucks, but volume 2 obviously has the transitioning to and from. Oh my god, like, they feel the same. They feel like the same person worked on them. And, you know, I'm not discrediting whoever worked on who worked on the volume 4 animation. It just was like, I feel like a lot was weighing down on RWBY to make sure they get this right, because it was so it was like the first one is like, that's Monty in essence, that's Monty. And, you know, to be able to emulate that is a huge undertaking, because Monty's style of choreography and fighting and action was extremely unique. And I absolutely love it. Like, I feel the same way about the Volume 4 Gunchuck fight as I did with the first one. And I've been watching it like an addict almost. To admit, like, it feels, I don't know, it feels like a continuation, right? And like I said, we haven't seen the Gunchucks in 4 years. So, I was very, very pleased. I was very, very happy with that. Yeah, Volume 5, sorry. Whatever I'm saying, I'm just caught up, I'm just mesmerized right now, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was... And then, like, you have people who say, like, RWBY doesn't try, and that they don't care, and that they like, half-ass... Like, there's your answer. There you go. Shut up. Like, this... I literally feel like, oh my gosh. Like, I could get on a rant about this, I'd rather not. But it just really upsets me how people will kind of, like, they really don't know what it's like, I would assume. You know? And I'm pretty sure this took weeks. I think they said in the RWBY behind the scenes, I think they said it took 6 weeks to do this fight. Like, just this sun moment here took 6 weeks to do. 6 weeks! For a 9-second animation, for a 9-second choreo, like, action scene, took 8 weeks to do. I'm sorry, 6 weeks to do. That's so crazy, man. I'm not triggered, it's just like, I don't know, it's like, it's so entitled, I'm not entitled, like, about anything. I don't feel like I deserve anything. I don't feel like anybody owes me anything. Like, I don't know. I know I'm not the only one who feels that way, but I feel like in many cases, there's so many people that are cut from the same cloth who feel like, because they watch this show, that they're entitled to high level, like stuff like this week in and week out. And it's like, I don't know. That's just me. This isn't my show. This isn't my project. I'm a viewer. I'm along for the ride, right? And yeah, you can critique, you can criticize and stuff like that, but at the same time, I'm not going to get in the way of how Rooster Teeth wants to tell their story and how they want to go about doing it. But some people feel entitled. Some people feel like that's Rooster Teeth owes them that. And I personally don't feel the same way. So, you know, that's why when they give me something, I take it for what it's worth, because this is them and this is their attempt at telling a story. And who am I to tell them, no, don't do that, or do this differently, or you're bad at doing that? I don't know. I just loved this scene. Just like getting on topic with this scene, man. I can literally, you guys want to watch this like for like the next like 2 hours? It's so good. Rip Roman, by the way. Like, fucking Roman Torchwick's been dead for 2 volumes now. And it's so crazy how I'm thinking back on it too. Like, I did my review for this chapter when it came out, like for volume 1, chapter 16. I did my reviews. I was doing reviews during volume 1, and I'm pretty sure I fanboyed in that review as well. But like, Roman actually held his own. Ilia was getting bodied. Like, Ilia was just getting trashed. And Roman actually held his own. It was only until Blake came in the way and actually got the hit on him that Roman was kind of caught off guard a little bit, which kind of, again, gives a lot of credibility to the fact that Roman was an absolute beast, even though he didn't have a semblance. And, okay, so I'm going to do something, I'm going to do another special thing here, too. So we're going to say bye to this real quick, but I also, hold on, I'm going to read the chat really quick before I get into it. Do I have popcorn? The camera angle makes the Volume 5 scene so much. Yeah, because the Volume 1 scene, it was just like, it was from the same angle. Like, there was no dynamic transitions or anything like that. And it was just Sun, like, moving forward a little bit. Torchwick was kind of doing almost, like, the same type of animations, which, I mean, I'll give them, you know, obviously, it's, like, it's Imposer, it's whatever, it's not that serious. But, oh my god, I can literally watch this all day. And oh my god. So what I'm gonna do, right, is, for the volume 4, I'm sorry, for the volume 5, I apologize if I'm saying wrong volumes. You guys know what I mean. It's just, I'm just getting caught up in everything. I decided to edit that scene. I believe it's, like 0.25 speed, just to kind of appreciate the choreography of that fight. So I'm pulling it back up right here. And, like, I don't know if you guys watched it, because Rooster Teeth doesn't have the, Rooster Teeth doesn't have, like, a slow... So I had to take this, put it in my video editor, my editing program, slow it down to a reasonable speed, and then render that. But, like, the choreography is really well, like, right there, like, he snaps them off to the gunchucks, and he does it with such force that it literally knocks her off her feet. And then everything else, it's just such a smooth transition. And then during that flip, he throws up his gunchucks and catches them on the way around. It's just so good. Ilia just gets absolutely bodied during this sequence. Yep, and then she gets knocked to the ground. And then right at the very end, snaps it back into staff form, and there you go. God, this was such a good... This was so great. And this was like... This... Oh... Oh my god, I really want to... And, like, the worst thing, too, after the reaction, I skipped the outro. Like, I skipped the credits, and I went back to the fight. I went back to the scene in the reaction, like, immediately after the episode ended, because I needed to see it again. So I didn't get to see who animated this chapter, but, I need to go back to that and just, like, tweet them out and be like, yo, you are a fucking blessing. And I appreciate you so much. Granted, Ilia held her own, even though her weapon was kind of like, she didn't really have a weapon to defend herself. The lighting was really well done too. Like the fire, like the VFX for the fire and everything was really done. Was really well done.
So glad that Ilia has returned from the dark side. Big fan of your reactions.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, Ilia's back right now. I mean, she's gonna go through some kind of reform / rehabilitation to kind of understand that, hey, not all people are the same. Not all bad people are the same. Not all humans are the same. So it's great to have her back here. But yeah, like, she had a weapon that was out of commission, getting like tossed around right here, but it was still great to have her kind of at least show that she's still kind of a competent fighter, even against Sun. This was like the first time that she's getting a taste of the Sunchuck, so it's like, it sucks that, like, damn, you had to get him to this point. This was what Sun was talking about. This was the payback. This was him getting even. That pinch was kind of like the icing on the cake, but this was like the real getting even, because he even mentioned, he was like, whenever I see Chameleon Girl again, it's not gonna be for you, it's gonna be to get even. So, and, I mean, this is the best way to get even on somebody that I know of. So, especially for Sun. Was it Kim? Was it all Kim? I didn't know. I didn't see, wait, didn't you watch? Oh, yeah, that's right. She did do that. Yeah, I did watch RWBY. Holy shit. One thing that she did mentioning, well, I didn't know if this was all her, or if there was, like, multiple layers of people who did it, or if it was just all Kim. But, I mean, if it was all Kim, yo, I fucking love you, Kim. And I hope, if you're watching this, you the man. Or you the woman, rather. But, oh, wow, someone hit me with a GIF.
Calm down. We're not here for your money.
It is a undeniable, and may I say it is a fundamental quality of man that when faced with extinction, every alternative is preferable. I think Ilia is playing
what
Blake.
Is that from?
After all, they're going to Adam right. She's leading them right to him.
Oh, that's from Red vs. Blue, right? Isn't that from RWBY? I think that was like the chairman, or it was either from the chairman or the director. But yeah, that's a vivid line. I remember that. Yeah, it's from one of them too. So I mean, the director and the chairman. It's a conversation. It goes back and forth. So I still don't really know who those two characters are in of themselves. So forgive me on that. But I do know that that was from RWBY. Oh my god. I think Ilia is playing Blake after all. They're going to Adam, right? She's like, no, I don't think so. That was a genuine. That was genuine. Like, there was too many emotions in there for her to be like, gotcha. One thing though that I wish they had done was when she starts crying, I wish that they had changed her skin color, because like her chameleon traits are also in tune with her emotions. Like when she's angry, she turns like red and yellow. When she's emotional, or you know, she turns like blue. And I was really and like when she was talking about her feelings for Blake, like she was turning like a little bit of pink. So I was really surprised that her skin color didn't change at all in that regard when it came to like a lot of the emotional moments that were in the fight. I think that would have made the fight a little bit more. I think that would just elevated the emotional factor for me personally, and just overall, because that's how we've seen her in that's how we've seen her both in the character short and like in previous volumes. But this volume, I don't think she's given into her emotions to where she's changed color. Like the only time she's ever changed was she was changing to black like at night and stuff like that, and to, you know, be protected by, you know, by nightfall. But yeah, I could watch this all day, and I'd really like to. And you know what? I'm just gonna go back to this part right here. Actually, when you watch it in slow motion and then you watch the normal speed, it makes the normal speed look like way faster than what it actually is. Oh my god, they nailed it so well. And like, I never want to hear another person complain about like sleeping on RWBY. Like, that's just the one thing. Like, I don't know, like they just feel like we can't get great moments like this all the time. And even during other volumes, like, there were just climactic pinnacle moments, right? Like, Crow versus Tyrion was, like, probably, like, a top-tier fight in Volume 4. But we didn't get that every chapter. We still got fights in, you know, in the volume, but not everything can reach that level of, like, I don't know. And I feel like everybody just wants that every fight scene. And it's like, I don't know, you're asking for way too much at that point. But yeah, I love this. I love this so much. And I'm watching it, like, I was literally just, after I edited this together, I was just watching this for like a good like 20 minutes. I was just like, I don't know, I was just caught up. Oh man. Yeah, and it was well worth the wait. It was so worth the wait too. It was so worth it. The only thing I wish Carrie never tweeted about it. That would have been an absolute, like, because he tweeted about it. I follow Carrie, obviously, so, like, he tweeted about it, and I saw it, so, like, I was expecting it, you know what I mean? Like, granted, just because you know you're gonna get it doesn't change the fact of, like, you don't know how it's gonna be presented, but I feel like it would have just been, like, a complete out of nowhere, dude. Literally out of nowhere, like no one could have expected it. And I'm happy for those people who don't follow Carrie, who don't follow like my social media, because I basically retweeted it and kind of hyped it up too. But like people who are kind of oblivious to that kind of stuff or ignorant to that kind of stuff for social media, I'm so happy for those people who are just like
no one
super
can
shocked
replace
about
money
seeing them.
and no should want to, but this chapter made me shed a tear of nostalgia and gave me hope for future flights.
Exactly. I feel like it did like quell the naysayers a lot in giving them hope for potential fights in the future that, you know, can be just as captivating as moments like this. Granted, like I said, this was like an 8-second scene, but like, you know, if they pull out all the stops, they can make it twice as long or, you know, just as exciting as ever. So why did you have to retweet that? Hey, I mean, people follow me on Twitter. It's like, you know what to expect. You know to expect, like, RWBY-based tweets and stuff like that. I don't know. I just hope that... I'm just happy for certain people who didn't know about that and just went in completely blind. Because, I mean, Let's see. I can understand him teasing it a bit. Hey, what's up, Semblance of Sanity? Is that Caleb? What's up, dude? Dude, I can't wait to see your reaction to this chapter, man. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty dope. Let's see, I'm just reading the chat really quick. I spent like the last 5 minutes watching that one animation scene.
Notice that beforehand, Ilia used the trick of electrocution through the contact of weapons when she was fighting Blake.
Yeah, she tried it again against Sun.
But after 3 quick clicks she finds out her weapon is broken. With that facial animation too, perfection.
Yeah, she goes to do it too, like after the ice breaks off, and then Sun backs off, and then like hits her into the pillar, and then he's got her. So yeah, great attention to detail there too. Always Caleb, always. Yeah, I guess Jacob's not a fan of social media. Yeah, see, Adam Warren, I went in blind. I stood up and I was screaming. Yeah, see, like, moments like that are just great. And, like, I still was excited, don't get me wrong. It was just, like, it's just, like, there's an aspect of expectations and then going in completely blind. So, you know, that's why I don't watch any of the RWBY, that's why I don't watch any of the, what's it called? The, I don't watch any of the, when RWBY Rewind comes out, I don't watch any of the previews because that gives me something to look forward to or gives me something to expect, and I don't want that. I want to go in completely blind, so doesn't take away the fact that, like, this was something that was 4 years in the making, that it makes up for the fact that I knew that it was coming because it was like, I wanted to actually see it executed, and it was executed perfectly, so it made up for the fact. Yeah, I don't know, I had a brain fart when I was trying to think of RWBY Rewind, I apologize. But yeah, the Zero Hero, you're late. Nah, I'm just kidding. Welcome. Better late than never. Don't worry about it, man. Yeah, we were just going through the Sun and Ilia fight that I posted right here. I guess I'll show it again because you just joined. But yeah, this was a really, really, really great moment in the show. Really great fight. There wasn't even a preview for today's rewind. Yeah, that's because they mentioned that the episode is like really intense and insane. Like a lot of stuff goes down, so they didn't want to tease anything. Not to mention the fact we don't get a chapter this weekend because there's a break for the holiday season, or for the holiday weekend, rather. So, I guess at that point, you know, we get the context of the episode of RWBY Rewind, which I'm gonna watch it tomorrow because I was setting up for the stream tonight, so I wasn't able to watch it. Notice me, senpai. Hey, Maya. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Everyone talking about Kerry's tweet made me aware. Feels bad. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Kerry himself, too, like, he knew what he was getting into when he tweets it. And, you know, when people tweet, people retweet, people talk about it, spreads like wildfire, gets people amped up, sets expectations, and, you know, it is what it is. But I can also understand him being, like, super antsy to be like, this was a big moment. Like, a bunch of RT staff was on social media the day the chapter came out, just giving off support and thanking people who enjoyed the chapter as a whole. Excuse me. Not just for the fighting scene either, but this was a really well put together chapter. And I'll mention it too, like, my friend, like, I mentioned it at the beginning of the discussion, but my friend Josh put it perfectly, right? And he's somewhat critical of the show as well. He mentioned, he was like, he told me the other night we were talking about the chapter because I was talking to him, like, how he felt about it. And he was like, you know what? I got to admit, watching, you know, the startup, I wasn't, he basically was like, he wasn't a fan of Blake's arc and how slow the pacing was for it. He wasn't a fan of how it started, but he couldn't have imagined a better way for it to end. And I think, like, that goes back in a line with kind of my whole philosophy of how I approach this show, which is like, you never know how things are going to end off. So rather than cast stones early on, you know, 1 chapter, 3 chapters, 6 chapters, 8 chapters down the line, you're eventually, like, I have faith in RWBY, I have faith in Rooster Teeth that they're not just, like, dicking around and they're not just giving us all of this walking and talking in exposition because they have nothing better up their sleeve or they have nothing better to offer. And Carrie, like I said, Carrie acknowledged that pacing is a concern, is an issue that they're trying to address and trying to make better as the show goes on, and they appreciate the feedback, albeit some people could be a little bit more, I don't know, they could just be a little bit more nicer about how they come across, you know, with critiquing, so to speak. But no, like, I wasn't let down at all, because I believed in this kind of payoff. Like, I always believed in that, and I always will believe in that. So when this chapter came out, I was incredibly pleased, because I was like, you know, I don't know. I feel like I'm very, 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 I don't know, I'm just cut from a different cloth when it comes to my expectations and what I expect of the show than other people. So, I don't really like expressing that all that much, because I feel like not everyone will relate to the same way I feel about the show. Some people might think that I take it, you know, I take whatever the show gives me, and I don't, you know, I kind of just, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, that I just accept things how they are, and I don't know. It's hard for me to explain it necessarily. And also, I just have an insurmountable level of patience that a lot of people really can't match. And that's because I've lived with someone my entire life who is the most impatient person I've ever met in my life, being my mom. Love her to death, but in order to build patience, you have to be around a lot of impatience. So, yeah, I mean, I had the patience to wait this long, 10 chapters in. It was a great payoff. I'm really happy a lot of people were satisfied by it. But at the same time, I always expected something like this to come about by, you know, at some point in the show. It was just a matter of time. So, Kim, oh my god! I've been watching this animation since Saturday, like, religiously. Yo, I told people in the chat, but this animation for this latest chapter, it felt like chapter 1. Like, that's why I have them side by side, because it feels like volume 1, right? And I mean this, like, I sincerely and, like, wholeheartedly mean this, and I don't mean to take any credit away from you, but it felt very Monty to me. And I obviously say that because obviously the top animation was done completely by him, but you guys, like, it was emulated so well, like, the style and it was just so well done. And I did a slow motion one too. I'm so glad you're here. Oh my god, it was so good. I did a slow motion one here that just shows just the precise details of the entire fight. Like how, like, he, like, winds up for the backswing, how it knocks Ilia off her feet, and then just the transition of the whole fight in general. I mean, I'm explaining it to you, but, like, you animated it, so it was so good. Yeah, I've literally been on this for, like, 20 minutes now, just talking about this scene. Oh, man. Yeah, you definitely earned that promotion. You definitely earned that assistant, lead animator promotion, for sure. Holy shit, this is so good. Yeah, and like I mentioned too, I feel like this was a great chapter to leave off on, and super satisfying for a lot of people who have been, like, craving this level of action since the volume started, you know, so really great overall. I watched the RWBY behind the scenes too, and just saw all the work that it went into to make this. How long did it take you to make this? How long did it take? I think Joel said something like 4 to 6 weeks. But, I mean, you animated it, so you would know firsthand. Let's see. Keep surprising us. Oh, man. Yeah, this scene was incredible. The Belladonna family's a beast. The family will kick ass together. A family that kicks ass together stays together. I love how Ilia has the redemption that we wanted for her. Merry Christmas. Oh wow, it took you 1 week just to it took me 1 week to animate just this shot of Ilia versus Sun. Oh wow. Holy fuck. Oh my god, you're literally a beast. Wow. Yeah, this was a really great moment. And like I said, it kind of... It just had that level of nostalgia from Volume 1, which, I mean... I can only imagine how you were feeling going through with this, because, I mean, literally, the expectations for this animation scene was this right here. Was Volume 1, Chapter 16, Sun versus Roman. So, I can only imagine... I mean, I don't know if... I'd assume, like, if personally, if I was given this task, like, hey, you're tasked with creating the animation sequence for Sun's Gunchucks, don't fuck it up. I'd literally, I wouldn't know what the hell to do with myself. I'd be sweating bullets, basically. I'd be shitting bricks, basically. So, it felt so true to the, you know, to the first time we ever saw them. And like I said, 4 years in the making. It felt nostalgic more than anything. Watched Fennec's eyes before his final charge because he seemed scared. Yeah, the other section of Chapter 10 I animated was when Ilia jumped over Blake and slow-mo to the part where Ilia says, "Fight me like you mean it." Oh, you mean this scene over here? Trust me, we covered a lot. We covered a lot of the chapter. Hold on, let me get rid of these right here. We kind of went through. I liked that slow motion. That was really good. Yeah, we talked a lot about these animation scenes too. A lot of emotion, like, it was just a very intense and emotional moment, especially like the facial animation here and Cherami Leigh's voice acting. Wow, you did this too. Holy shit. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's really well done. Very well done. So, I think I've been gushing about this scene in particular. Yeah, I gift everything. I gift everything. I gift the Ghira moment too. Do you know who did the Ghira versus Corsac and Fennec? Like this moment right here? Like who did all of this? Because this is I only gift 3 animation scenes because I literally feel like screenshots don't do the animation justice in terms of discussing and expressing how the animations were. So, yeah, those are the only 3 that I gift together and put together for the discussion. But this was also pretty badass too. This is like some trading blows moment. It was a new animator. Jesus Christ. It was a new animator who is so friggin' talented. His name is Josh Yang. Really? I think I saw you guys tweeting about the people who covered this chapter. I think I saw his. Can you link the GIF in the description after the stream? It's not a GIF. I literally what I did was I took the chapter, I put it into my editor, my editing software, and I edited these together myself. And then I took them and put them in the media source for OBS. So they look like GIFs because OBS lets you loop any video files that you put in here. So if these weren't looped, they would just be shown off in one set and then that's it. So it's not like a traditional, like, I didn't use like a GIF website or a GIF page that has a link to anything like that. So my bad. That would also be hard to put into OBS in that regard. So I kind of did the groundwork myself for that. But yeah. And then, oh, hold on. Getting ahead of ourselves here. Oh boy. And I was also a little bit upset by this part right here. I feel like everything else is just gonna wait. Let's see. What do you like about RWBY, Arnold? Everything. That's such a great video. It's like a meme in of itself. Oh, did I say Josh? I'm sorry. Yeah, I meant... my bad. Hold on. John Yang. Okay. I read that super fast. I don't know why I said Josh. I think I fucked up the other dude's name that you said that animated, that did the animation for a fight, that did the animation for Yang versus the Bandits. I think I fucked up his name too, so I apologize. John, please don't be upset. I'm sorry. Yeah, I done goofed. There were no storyboards for the Sun vs. Ilia shot. I was basically told to go wild and do my thing. Holy shit. I don't even know where to begin. I wouldn't even know where to start. I wouldn't even know where to start to do a fight scene. And how to make it, like, flashy, and also how to make it, like keep the choreography, you know, fluid and consistent. I don't know. That part of my brain is just not operational. It's great to look at, but in terms of executing, it's kind of like you got to break it down to a science almost. And the fact that you had nothing to go off of is even crazier. That is crazy. I'll be honest with you, Arnold. I animated that during the Yu-Gi-Oh marathon. I think that's how I think that's how it turned out so awesome. Oh shit, that is great. Believe in the heart of the cards. Holy shit, that is great. Oh man. I believed. Well, the heart of the cards never worked for me. Like, every time I'm in a duel with a friend and I'm like, heart of the cards, guide me, it's like a level 6-star monster and I have no monsters on my field. So, that's my luck with the heart of the cards. But nah, good shit, Kim. I'm proud of you. You definitely deserve the promotion, all the praise. Everybody and their mother that I've at least talked to has enjoyed the animation sequence. It definitely holds... Like I said, it kind of feels like it feels so nostalgic to the original. So good shit on that. Kudos to you. And yeah, so this scene right here, I was really upset because like Ghira was holding on to that like part of the, I guess part of the like the upper balcony that fell off for like a hot minute before Sun decided to do anything. I'm like, Sun, what the fuck are you doing? You're just standing there. Please do something. It took you like 20 minutes to get into this room. So I don't know what the hell you're doing, why it's taking you so long. So yeah, Sun was getting on my nerves a little bit, but he, you know, he came through. He redeemed himself. Mr. MurderofBirds, your stream is very long. Trust me. This must be the first time you're at my stream then, if you're saying that, because these streams go for... I mean, we're at the very end of the chapter. No longer than probably another 30 minutes we're going to have on this episode. I was just gushing over the animation for Sun, because it's like the crowning moment of the chapter, I would say, for a lot of people. And very nostalgic, too. But yeah, so this part right here was really interesting. You guys are going to lose me for a bit, so... I'm going full screen here. Some people didn't realize what caused the explosion, and I kind of put it together as it happened.
We're not here for your money.
Hey, Shane, what's up?
Fennec's assassination attempt really fell flat. The whole battle was a really crushing defeat for the White Fang.
Okay.
I guess they just got outfoxed. But honestly, that's what he deserves for attacking my kitty waifu. Splat.
Oh man, the puns are real with this one. I appreciate it. Thank you for the donation, bud. I knew nothing about nunchucks when I animated that scene. I referenced Monty's shot like crazy and looked at how to nunchuck 101 tutorial videos. Yo, that's how you do your research, like tutorial videos, and obviously you're going into the gunchuck scene, so I mean the only source of reference that you would have from the show is Monty's original piece that he did for Volume 1. Obviously, it was a lot different because it was way more dynamic, right? Like, you actually had the camera shifting. He wasn't just standing in one spot, like, slowly moving forward. He was actually doing flips and, you know, flares and all that kind of cool shit. So, it was really, 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 really well done. Especially since it seems like you improvised a lot of it and you kind of just, you did necessary research on top of that, but that's kind of crazy how well it turned out. I guess at the end of the day, that just proves you have a knack for animating. Oh man, it was so freaking good. But yeah, so like a lot of people didn't realize. Oh, let's see. Are you going to talk about the weapons being charged with Fennec and Corsair's aura? I don't. Well, so we know that. Like aura is triggered by the. I'm sorry. Dust is triggered by the aura of humans and faunus. So yeah, I was gonna basically mention that like one has fire dust and the other one has wind, air dust, so to speak, kind of like basically a substitute for oxygen. And when you combine the two together, you get explosions. And that's basically what triggered the explosion for there. Like he gets crushed, the dust kind of becomes, I don't know. I guess it just triggered under the pressure of the pillar falling on him, and he blew up. So that basically sucks. Hold on, let's see. Well, in the world of Remnant, hold on a second. I never realized the daggers were double-sided. Huh. Well, in the world of Remnant, you're not necessarily wrong, Semblance. Hold on, I'm gonna try to see the response that you had. Their aura, how so? I thought that they have dust at this time. Well, the way that they had like this stance, and then you would see the dust kind of glow. In the world of Remnant with dust, like one of the first things that Salem says in that world of Remnant is, dust, by definition, it is a naturally occurring energy propellant that can be triggered by the aura of humans and faunus. But in reality, it is much, much more. And I think that's actually verbatim. So, like, even though the dust is in the weapon, like, in order to, like, there's no triggers or anything like that on the weapon itself. So in order to exert the dust out into a tangible form for attacking, there would have to be some sort of trigger, and I think that trigger is their aura to an extent. Because you see them, like, take, like, a stance, and you hear, like, a charge-up noise as the dust is charging in the blade. So I do still think, to an extent, that the dust is actually being charged through their aura. Oh, Bayonet is dope, yeah. Let's see. But yeah, so, essentially, I don't know what he was planning on doing. I doubt he was kind of going into like, suicide bomb himself, like, with Ghira. Because the way that it looked, like, the way that it was kind of animated was, like, he ran, and it looked like he was gonna leap on top of Ghira. It didn't look like he was going to attack him. It looks like he was gonna leap on him, but then he got bamboozled and he got blown up. So, you know what I mean? Especially since he ran at him when both of those weapons produced projectile-esque attacks. So it wouldn't have really made sense to, to do that, especially since he had both of them. Like, he could have created that crazy fire wind vortex that they had last chapter, that they did in the last chapter. But, I don't know. He could have very well been trying to do that, too. It's just, I don't know. He's a crazy one, and now he's dead for it, so. Right, they had to use their weapons as a conduit. The dust plus aura in the weapon made them OTK weapons. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, long story short, he bit the dust. Unfortunate, but, you know, it is what it is. So from there, let's see, what else we have? So I think after this... Oh, yeah, so Kali comes through like an absolute beast. You guys are going to lose me again. So I think the last of these shots are panned over. So, yeah, Kali is just, like, wrecking house, and she's like, yo, let me go and show my family how badass I am by carrying my prey into the room. You know, basically just beating him over the head with a serving tray, tying him up, and dragging him across her house into the room where shit's going down. And yeah, I think this was a great way to leave it off because a lot of people were like seriously scared, myself included, that Kali was gonna die. You know, when you put a hit on the two most supportive parents in the show, you know, and then she turns out to be a badass, it's a great feeling. Oh yeah, he bit the dust. Oh my god, I didn't even mean to make that a pun. Holy shit. I just realized that. Yeah, I literally did not mean to. I mean, I guess at this point I meant to make it one. It worked. So yeah, and then at the last minute, Ilia finally makes her goddamn choice after so long. She realizes, yep, we done fucked up, so I'm gonna electrocute this dude who's going on like a rampage, and kind of turns themselves in, which was... It was something that I feel like she should have done so long ago. Even if she's confused, even if she's misguided, I still feel like she's made all of these efforts that show that she is not, you know what I mean? Like, she's still very much confused and not completely influenced by Adam and the White Fang. But at the same time, it's like, well, you're saying one thing, but your actions are showing a different, you know, your actions and your words are doing two different things, you know? So it was kind of all over the place for her to an extent, but I'm glad, finally, you know, she's on equal terms. She realized the error of her ways. She's been forgiven. Redemption can now start happening. She can now start being kind of pseudo-reformed and, you know, kind of having a better perspective on humans and other people, you know, like I said, meeting Yang and meeting Blake and, meeting Yang and Weiss and RWBY and, you know, humans in general, because she's surrounded by faunus right now, so there's really no way of her really being able to see how she interacts with humans unless she actually interacts with humans, you know what I mean? And I think the last time she probably did that on a personal level was when she was at that Atlas school that, you know, before her parents were killed. So... yeah, and they ruined everything. So, let's see. Yeah, and then the speech was really, really, really well done too. Obviously, everything comes back around full circle. I love how the house was still being burned to the ground, like it was partially being burned to the ground, and everyone's just so casual about it. It's like, dude, your daughter burned your house, like, partially burnt, like, but then again, the house is so massive that I feel like it's very minimal damage. On top of that, they burned the meeting room. Like, who's upset that the meeting room got burned down? Like, no one's room got burned down. The kitchen didn't get burned down. You know, the living area. It's just, like, the meeting room. So, at the very end of the day, Ghira has some time off of work now, at the very least. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, hold on. Where is he in the chat? I just saw someone comment something in the chat. Okay. Joseph Frazier typed in the chat, you know what I call that victory? And I'm pretty sure he's... oh, hold on. I gotta go backwards. He's like, you know what I call that victory? And I'm pretty sure he's referring to volume... I'm pretty sure he's referring to volume 3 during the Vital Festival. Where Uplek and Port were commentating, and Neptune ends up winning the match by electrocuting the rest of Team Indigo, and Uplek, Port was like, you know what I call that victory? And then Uplek was like, shocking? He's like, no, well earned. What you said is stupid. So I like how the shocking factor comes back into play here because Corsac got shocked. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually going to put that in my TLDR review. I'm going to write that down right here, and that's going to go in there too. Thank you very much for adding that. That was really, really good. All right, so shocking quote. Uplek, volume 3 to volume 4. All right. With Corsac. That's going to be really great. That's going to be another great addition. Thanks a lot, Joseph. I don't know if you meant to do that, but you kind of gave me inspiration for another thing for my review, so that's pretty awesome. All right, so let's see. 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, there you go. So yeah, so basically everything works out great. This guy goes to jail. You got Ghira carrying the whole team on his back, basically, like carrying everyone out of the house on his back, friend and foe alike. You know, obviously everybody comes out. I really loved Aaron Zek's speech during this chapter. I remember that she mentioned that the hardest lines for her to do for this volume was, I mean, her hardest lines for Blake were actually in volume 5. And, and I feel like maybe this was it. Maybe this was the speech, because it was a very impassioned speech. And I personally feel like this speech was a lot better than the one that Ghira gave. And I'm wondering if this was the, I mean, granted, the wording was a little bit more appropriate for what currently happened. You know, she was talking about her house being burned down. She was like, humans didn't do this. Faunus did this. We did this to ourselves. So, you know, obviously the speech is ad-libbed a little bit, but I'm wondering if this was the general speech that she was going to give to the Faunus during the press hearing a few chapters back before Ilia interrupted the speech, because I feel like, I mean, I don't know, that still might not have bared the results. Maybe something like this needed to happen to give it the extra oomph to kind of really kind of push the, you know, drive the point home that, hey, we're just as bad as humans, and clearly, you know, things need to work out for everybody. So, I don't know. I just personally feel like this was a really great speech. I feel like this is also the speech that, one of the speeches at least, that Aaron Zek probably felt was a very challenging approach. To kind of, because it was kind of like a speech of persuasion, kind of convincing people and persuading people to be like, hey, we need to fight for this bigger, better, greater cause. And I just really loved it. I was really in tune with the speech and, you know, Aaron's performance with it as well. So, and then obviously all the Faunus last minute, they're like, hey, I'm gonna go too. And then you had Mata from a few chapters back where his mom was like, what are you talking about? You're not going anywhere. So I found that really funny in my reaction, because I literally said the same thing. I was like, dude, your mom's not gonna let you go still, probably. So I found that to be really, really funny. And the rounding off on this chapter, I would say as a whole, is that, you know, Ilia is, you know, redeemed to an extent. We have, you know, nobody, you know, on the good guy, no, none of the good guys perished, none of the good guys died, which was obviously a plus for that. Sun got his infamous revenge. He got even with Ilia, obviously whipping out the nunchucks on her and pinching her. And at this point, we might see the captain again. We might see the first mate again. Obviously, they have 2 weeks before Haven, you know, gets attacked. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get, you know, a time skip on that, because clearly training and all that other stuff isn't necessary. Obviously, you're training like a bunch of commoners and, you know, people who probably have light combat experience to defend Haven. And they're going to be going up against the White Fang as well. But, there was retribution. The debt has been paid. Yeah, it's like, you stabbed me. And then he just pinches her, and he's like, "Yeah, we're cool." No, I don't think did that rabbit Faunus, the one that was getting choked out by Yuma, he didn't die, did he? I hope not. That'd be a really shitty way to go, especially if that's the same dude that got shot in the previous chapter that was trying to protect Kali, and he just got shot and like knocked out. Oh damn, he did die. Feels bad, man. Well, he could have just been unconscious, you know, he could have just been, you know, lost oxygen, like, pretty sure he didn't, like, snap his neck. He probably just, like, choked him into, you know, into submission for him being unconscious. You guys are so morbid, Jesus Christ. No, he's dead. I don't know. I'd like to think he's still alive. If dust is triggered by aura, then how do the floating islands float? Well, that's natural aura. I'm saying, like, weaponized aura. Like, in the way that it's utilized, like, with this chapter. If it's in a weapon, and it's being exerted out of the weapon, and there's no way of actively doing that, there's no button to press, there's no switch to press. The only other thing would be aura. Like, aura that's, like, well, and another thing, too, the aura that's floating on those floating islands, that's gravity dust. So, the aura, the dust itself is doing that. It's gravity dust, so it's the property, you know, the property of gravity dust is what is allowing them to float. So, yeah. The pilot died. Well, I'm saying for this episode, the pilot died, like, in Chapter 3. Actually, in Chapter 2, that plane crash killed him, so... He's been dead for the past 8 chapters, so unless did I say in this volume? I didn't mean over-encompassing. We still have 4 chapters left. What I'm wondering too is what I'm really wondering is how I wonder what the end credit chat. I mean, I know we have 4 chapters left, but I'm already wondering what the end credit scene is going to be, cuz the end credit scene for all the chapters has always been a point of, like, conversation in and of itself. Like, Volume 2, especially with Yang's mom, no one knew if that was, like, a doppelganger, if that was, like, her twin sister, if that was her mom. Volume 3 with Crow being able to turn into a crow kind of drew a lot of the initial theories of if Crow can turn into a crow, can Raven turn into a raven? Volume 4's, I think Volume 4's was the most... actually, I take that back. Yeah, Volume 4's was the most... I guess it was just a thing. It wasn't anything that was really kind of like to be like, there wasn't a lot of speculation behind it. So, let's see. You're making me confused about aura. I'm sorry. It sounds like aura dust can be triggered by more than just aura. Weapons with triggers can use it. Yes. And obviously things in the stores, things like the stove don't need your aura. Exactly. I feel like actively triggering dust with your aura is more archaic. Like, back when technology was very primitive, I'm pretty sure that that's what allowed people to utilize dust in the early stages of mankind, was, like, utilizing it through the efforts of their aura and then realizing that they can weaponize it or utilize it with, like, you know, everyday household items or, you know, just general things like stoves or cars for fuel or whatever the case might be. And practically everything on Remnant runs on dust, which is, I think that's a bad thing, especially since dust is basically a finite resource and a resource that the people that are using it don't even know where it comes from. They don't know its origin. They don't know much about dust other than that it's an energy propellant. So, you know, the dust that they're using could very well be, like, toxic to them, or it could be, like, I don't know. I've mentioned this before, but dust to me, and the concept of dust and how it's utilized by civilization, but nobody knows its origins, no one knows where it came from, nobody knows how it's utilized, like, no one knows, like, really, like, the in-depth questions about dust as a whole. It reminds me so much of Mass Effect and, like, the mass relays, and how the mass relays were planted by the Reapers, and how, like, every civilization every species built their civilizations around them, and it made it so much easier for harvesting, because it's like, well, you built your whole civilization around these machines, around this technology that you don't understand, and then it turns out, like, that's, you know, gotcha, you know what I mean? So I feel like dust is, I don't know, I feel like there's something very, very off about how dust is just accepted by so many people. Even if it's just a natural resource that can be mined or whatever, there's just so many, like, the fact that dust can't leave the Earth's atmosphere, like, that's not questionable. Like, it's like, what? Why? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's questionable overall. So is dust like Mako energy from Final Fantasy? Well, Monty actually mentioned that dust, he sees dust similar to, like, materia, which materia can only be used by people that are affected by Mako energy, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, in a way, dust is kind of seen in similar fashions. Like, Monty kind of saw it as, like, a similar utilization of materia. Hey, Arnold, did you see my question about Blake's speech? Hold on, let me go back up. I did not see your question. Let's see. Oh, Arnold, did you notice how Blake's speech is the perfect message to those humans who are discriminating against the faunus? Yeah, it could be a twofer. You can give that speech to the humans just as well as you can give that to the faunus. It's just like, I mean, at the end of the day, Blake... I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, Blake is just more so trying to get the faunus on her side. So, I mean, when the time comes, she can pull out that speech again to get both sides to see eye to eye. Let's see. All right, Kristen Love, thank you for sticking around. I appreciate it. Oh, you're starting your very first... What's your first job? Gotta go. I've enjoyed the stream. Good night. Wish me luck when I start my very first job tomorrow. What is your first job? I'd love to know. Oh, God. My first job that I ever worked in my life was McDonald's. I worked there for 6 years. My first job, I worked there for 6 years. Almost became a manager. I was offered to be a manager, but I didn't want to be one because... God, no. God, no. But no, I loved it. I loved my first job. It taught me the value of $1. It taught me, like, gave me a really strong work ethic. And, I don't know, it's always a great experience to kind of learn where people's first jobs were. But if you already left or if you're heading out, you have yourself a great night. And good luck on your first job tomorrow. And don't worry about it too much because... I remember when the first day I started working, I tried to just make sure I did everything perfect, and no fuck-ups, no mistakes. It's my first job. I need to make this money. You know what I mean? I was still in high school too, so, you know, the fact that I had a job now was like, okay, now I have to start saving up and buying my own shit. So. Oh, wow, lifeguarding was your first job? Yeah, lifeguard, I really wanted to get into lifeguarding because I took CPR. Like, I took a first aid course. I took a CPR course. I became CPR certified for a few years. And I was really into the realm of, during my high school years, I was into the realm of, like the medical field. I wanted to be an EMT. And I wanted to get into lifeguarding and do that for, like, a summer job, too. And I just never I never went through with it at the end of the day. Everyone's getting into their first job experiences, yeah. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, how long did you work at McDonald's? I've been there 4 years now. I worked at McDonald's from March of 2010 until March of 2016. So, I worked until the beginning of last year. And I worked there throughout high school. I got it, like, I got my job during my senior year, so... high school, and after I graduated, the next 5 years, and I worked there. I worked at I had multiple jobs too. Like I worked at McDonald's and GameStop. I had 2 jobs at one point. I worked at McDonald's and I worked at GameStop, and during that time too, in 2013 was when I started my channel. So 3 years into McDonald's, I started my YouTube channel. So then I was juggling working, doing my YouTube channel, and that was pretty much it because I was living at home, so there wasn't a lot of stress for me to kind of worry about a lot of the stuff that you know are responsibilities to me now, like rent and bills and you know, obligations and things like that. So I don't know. I just have a very strong resonance with a lot of first time experiences in my life, like the first car I ever had, and the first time, you know, like the first paycheck I got, and the first scratch ticket that I ever scratched, and, you know, just stuff like that. So first jobs are, like, really, really special to me. And I'm just fascinated by other people's experiences, too. But ultimately, guys, we spent the last 3.5 hours dissecting the latest chapter of RWBY Volume 5 with a lot of great moments, awesome animation, a lot of closure, especially a great way to end Blake's story arc, the return of the Sunchucks, Great fight scenes and a lot of emotion and intense moments from Blake and Ilia. We got to see, thank God, no one of noteworthiness, I would say, died this chapter, which was good. You know, and at this point, Rooster Teeth has a lot in store. I guess Rooster Teeth can kind of go any which way, excuse me, for how they want to set up Chapter 11 and the last 4 chapters of the volume, basically. What they have to leave us off with, if the fall of Beacon is really going to happen this volume, what's going to happen with Vernal, what's going to happen with you know, with Raven and her plans is... You know what I mean? And everything else in between. Is Team RWBY really going to get back together by the end of the volume? You know, all that stuff. And I'm just super, super stoked. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Like I mentioned, too, this weekend, this Saturday, December 23rd, we are not getting a RWBY chapter. I keep wanting to say Sunday. This Saturday, we're actually... I'm going to put my webcam back. So this Saturday... is a holiday break for the RWBY, and it's just going to be a moment where, like, there's not going to be any RWBY Chapter 11, and it's basically for the holidays, for the holiday break of, like, whatever you celebrate, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, someone said in the chat earlier today. So, essentially, we're going to have a week off for RWBY, which is, you know, it's a good thing as well. Obviously, this weekend, people's reactions for Chapter 10 is going to go up. Next weekend, there's not going to be any reactions, but next weekend we return with Chapter 11, which is going to be on the 30th. For me personally, I'm probably not going to watch the chapter until either Monday or Tuesday. So my live stream discussion when Chapter 11 comes out for first members, it might be on Thursday. And that's because, like I mentioned, like the 30th, I have things planned. The 31st is New Year's Eve. The 1st is New Year's Day, so I'm going to have a few things going on during that weekend. And then the 2nd, January 2nd, is my sister's birthday. So I'm kind of almost booked for that whole weekend of personal things that I'm doing, seeing friends and family and all that other stuff. So, you know, in terms of RWBY, I'm just going to focus a little bit more on... you know, on personal stuff before I get back into that. But I hope you guys enjoyed the discussion. It's going to be a long week before I get back to doing these discussions, of course. Yeah, have a wonderful, nondescript holiday spectacular. Thanks a lot, dude. Thank you for joining, Caleb. I appreciate it, man. Always love hearing you guys, coming in here talking about the chapter. I will be working for a local music store, which is nice because I'm a music person. I'm still in high school and I wanted to find something small so I can balance it. So I can balance with school. Yeah, that's also a good thing too. Like when I first started working at McDonald's, I took like 3-hour shifts, like 3, 4, 5 hours. I took like 4 3-hour shifts like a week. I worked about like 20 hours a week at most, just because I was in my senior year. And then after I graduated, I was like, all right, I'll take 40-hour-a-week shifts. And I never looked back. And I did morning shifts, lunch shifts, dinner shifts, overnight shifts, which is the bane. Don't ever do overnight if you work for a 24-hour fast food place, because it's just don't fucking do it. You'll never have a life. You'll have a lot of money and you'll have no way of spending it because you'll be working 40 hours a week and you'll be sleeping every day, even on your days off. So that's the only word of advice I'll give to anybody who works in a 24-hour fast food place. Been there, done that, know how it is. But music store sounds pretty dope. It's great that you like music as well. It's the universal language. So that's really great. But yeah, I hope all of you guys have a really happy holiday season. No matter what you guys celebrate, of course. I'm going to be obviously getting back really late into the new year. So by the time I do another discussion, it'll already be the new year. So Happy New Year in advance. If you're watching this in the past or the future or whatever the case might be, Happy New Year. Happy holidays. I appreciate you guys joining again, of course. Enjoy the rest of your evening, of course, as well. Be sure to, if you guys have school tomorrow, work smarter, not harder, of course. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And I'm going to relax for the rest of the night. Probably going to start working on these RWBY these TLDR reviews. Oh, also, really quick, before I leave, there's a few of you guys still left in here. I'm going to be streaming Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild tomorrow. So I'm going to be getting back into Twitch streaming over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm only 10 hours in, so I'm going to be making a lot of progress getting back over there. So if you guys aren't following me on Twitch, the link for that is in my description, but it's twitch.tv/MurderofBirds. If you guys aren't following me over there, really appreciate if you guys can go over, show your support there. I'm going to try to, like I said, be more active with streaming over there, playing Zelda, Mario, Kingdom Hearts, Dark Souls, getting back into gaming, especially, you know, especially when RWBY ends, as it's going to be ending within the next month. So, all that stuff, all those factors are going to be going in. So, for any of you guys who are, yeah, only 10 hours because I haven't been able to really, the reason why I'm putting the TLDRs for RWBY on the back end, on the back burner for now, is because I haven't been able to play anything because I've been working so much on those. I haven't really been able to do much else because of the TLDRs. So, I've been falling a little bit behind on those. So I decided to kind of, for the sake of my happiness and for the sake of a peace of mind, I'm going to focus a little bit on getting back to streaming and gaming and stuff like that. So for those of you guys who want to go over there, check it out, show some support, follow the stream. I'm going to be streaming over there tomorrow, probably some point in the afternoon. Next week, there's no RWBY episode, so I'm probably going to be streaming all week as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a great night. Take care, and I will see you guys very, very soon.